Welcome!
Oh.
Hey! Hello! Hey everyone!
Oh.
Welcome to yet
Hey-ho.
another episode of Legends of Avantris. This is episode 14, I think? Episode 14, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
episode 14.
And
yeah.
welcome back. We're doing a twofer back-to-back.
Twofers.
Wednesday and Monday, less than a week. I know you guys are really wanting to see what happened next, so here we are. We'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming after this week. So we're having Call of the Feywild on Wednesday this week, and then I'll be just back to, standard Monday and Wednesdays. And I guess with that, we will go around the table and introduce the party. And we'll introduce our guest, our special guest player,
Very
Derek,
special guest.
playing
Special being
Midnight
the key word.
Matthias White, the Revenant human vengeance paladin.
Aye, may it do you fine.
He's not that special.
May it do you
He's
fine.
alright.
He's guesting for a few sessions, so we've been enjoying some piratey high seas adventures here for a while. And he is a raised revenant, human pirate captain who was betrayed by one of his crew members, Adelaide Blue. She orchestrated a mutiny, sent him down, tied him to an anchor, sent him down to the sea, drowned. He was then resurrected by some strange voice, given a ghost ship, and he is on the path to kill Adelaide Blue, who the party knows as Deidre Tidehunter, the evil priestess of Umberley. We then have Roderick Stonehearth, played by Richie here. He is a mountain dwarf fighter.
That's not like a character.
Wrong character.
All right,
He's
all
a
right,
fighter.
all right.
He's a horn of mysterious significance. His people are fucked by frost giants. It's fine.
It's fun.
It's
It's
fine.
fun.
Ganji Stormscale, a bronze dragonborn played by Scotes here. Bronze dragonborn, war cleric of Bahamut. His people are fucked by, not really fucked. They're just having an eternal deadlock, a stalemate war with.
It's more of a mutual thing.
Mutual fuck. Yeah, everyone just
Mutual fuck.
all the
Loaded
dragonborn.
home already, man. He's just like, here we go.
Here we go. Yeah, I'm
Lots of spaghetti going.
Lots of spaghetti. His people was in an internal war with the chromatic dragonborn, his metallic dragonborn people, and he's looking for mysterious dragonborn artifacts and relics to help that war. We then have Sylvie Flickerwicket, played by Nikki here. She is a gnome warlock who fell through the Fey crossing into the Feywilds, encountered the Archfey Queen Titania of the Summer Court, pledged her service, her life and her service to the Summer Court in exchange for warlock powers. We then have
I got cucked, not fucked.
cucked, not fucked. You got cucked, not fucked.
Flickered, not wickered.
This is a mature stream. Warning, this is a good, wholesome, mature stream. Not,
Shuffle the little ones out of the room.
yeah, no little ones watching the stream. All y'alls.
Yeah.
We then
It's
have,
rated R.
Yeah, it's rated R. Yeah. At least for a few more sessions.
Which is subsequently not a pirate's favorite letter.
No, that'd be the high C.
Naturally. And we then have Annulin Mossgrove, who's bending over behind her webcam.
Max viewers.
Played by Kelsey. She is a wood elf ranger whose mother was kidnapped by fire giants. Her father was also killed by the said fire giants. And so she's looking for ways to help save her mother from slavery. Oh, it's Winnie. Welcome back. And then we have Avantris True Strike, played by Andy.
Master absolutely leads.
But yeah, something like that. At least when he's applying disguises, he's definitely least.
Hey, yeah.
Hey, Natty Ones galore, and
That's his band name.
yeah, Natty Ones galore is my stage name as well. He is a bounty hunter who is on the hunt for Orpheus Rhadamanthus, who the whole party now is pursuing to the island home of the Lockjaw Crooks, Undertow Isle. And he is going to cut his head off, I guess. I don't know. And then I am Mikey. I write fan fiction and roll dice. That's about all I do.
The least important member.
The least important member of the party, me. Yeah, so I guess we'll just get into it. Into what happened last time. Oh, turn up the heat, yeah. We also have a very cold townhouse. That's the best character of this.
The very cool town.
It sets the tone. We're
It's
sailing where it's
actually
sea.
my new homebrew class. I'm going to be rolling a sperm whalekin townhouse.
Yay!
Primo.
Hey, it's Misaki.
Negative 10 to Constitution.
Yeah. You can find that on the Dungeon Masters Guild for $75. Worth it. Worth every
It's
penny.
got the special feature beach.
beach instantly die.
Spend 3 death saves to die.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Let's we gotta
Tonight's gonna be a thing.
tonight's gonna be a fun
Anyways,
session,
The
guys.
shaft curves to the right.
We're a little punchy. When we don't get a full week in between our sessions, the shit goes off the rails. So we're gonna see how tonight goes. So, last time you were all aboard the Devil's Due, Matthias's ship, his ghostly ship, and morning hit, and you were attacked immediately by pirates. These were not ghost pirates like the ones aboard the Devil's Due. These were corporeal human pirates. They all seemed to be. They were called the Black Bilge Crew. They were all banded together by a captain who had let Matthias had let live in a previous encounter in his pillaging further north. And he basically rallied all of these crews, of the surviving members of crews that he had left in his raiding and pillaging of other pirates. And he was out for vengeance. They attacked the party, quickly dispatched, not quickly, but they dispatched them. And after doing a charm monster, or whatever the hell it was, on the captain, befriending him and then scaring him, the rest of his crew, the surviving crew, quickly abandoned their new captain. And so, despite their best efforts to learn about his backstory and try to put him on the path of good, he really wasn't having any of it, and they were unable to sway him from a life of vengeance against Matthias, so they killed him and kicked him overboard. And after that, they encountered a storm was rolling in. Rather than sailing through it, they decided to go around the storm, which delayed their journey about 2 or 3 days, and so not on the chase quite as quickly as they were hoping. But they did happen to avoid being lured to some sharp rocks by Kelpies who had used a strange hypnotic song in order to charm Rodek and Matthias's undead ghostly crew, but no one else, and they were able to avert disaster. And after that, they encountered 4 drowned corpses of young to middle-aged looking women, long hair. They were heaved up onto the deck of the ship to see that they looked like they had been drowned. The party suspected that it was the work of Diadra, and then they rose as undead creatures, horrific creatures that use their hair to strangle and entangle and ensnare.
It was bad.
It was bad.
It was gross.
It was gross. It was really nasty. And
They were bizarrely lively.
they were bizarrely lively. And then they dispatched all of them, and then after several more hours, they realized that they were finally arriving at Undertow Isle. And so then they got level 8. And so you all are
We rarely level, guys. 2.5 years, level 8. Pretty good.
almost not quite 2.5 years. Not quite 2.5 years. 2 years and 4 months.
Level 9 in 2019, level 10 in 2020.
Yeah, you know, that's
Can't wait.
so
This is how we keep it lasting. We make the campaign last.
Exactly.
yeah. It's
got legs,
longer
kid.
lasting, you know.
It's got legs.
It's got sea legs.
It's got sea legs. Ooh.
Sorry, I'm just pulling up my music here. I cannot DM without music. This is a crutch of mine. Not this one.
So a quick question: is it
Yeah.
Devil's Due or Due?
Due.
Due.
D-U-E.
Well, it's
Okay.
like do or
Not like do.
Like, because
Well, I was thinking D-E-W.
that's what I thought
Oh.
too.
Oh.
Because it's a ghost
Due.
ship, so it's like Misty. So it's like, oh, it's a play on it.
No.
But I
Due
didn't.
over
I
the-
didn't
It's like
want
what
this
you're
one,
due.
This one sheds.
I mean, that makes
It
more
is
sense. A lot more
sketchy.
badass.
That's it.
Yeah.
Thank
there,
you.
There isn't one
You
on
fucking
the living
do?
room floor.
Arr, nay, nar.
I
This
enjoy
is
the
like
dew
someone
of
who like
March.
frolic in the morning mist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you don't know what he
Did you
does
want
with
this
his
one
crew when
in
no
chest?
one's looking.
Sound good.
You're
It's
absolutely
down
right. I have no idea.
So,
Thanks, Raj.
Anyway, we're a mess. We're a mess.
anyway,
And
it's a mess.
D-U-E.
So, you saw Undertow Isle rising on the edge of your vision, on the horizon. As you got closer to sunset, you were able to see through your true sight spyglass
Aye.
as you approached that you are arriving probably close to dawn. I'm probably retconning a little bit. It would have taken a little bit longer. Closer to dawn. of the next morning, you guys got a long rest, and you got to level 8, and you were able to see that this seems to be a volcanic island, and is a single mountain peak going up, and as the elevation goes up, it seems to be beaches all around, and then just very dense swampland on the base of this island, and then once it gets towards higher and higher up, there seems to be a layer of what used to be maybe a forest or something that it seems to be barren, completely barren and dead, and then it goes up to just rocky, craggy volcano top to which the huge ruins of an ancient keep seem to be built upon.
So swamp, dead forest, craggy peak.
Keep is built like on the crag, but there's a craggy peak here.
Okay.
Alright, so we have to start at
Not to
Congo
be
Jungle
confused with
and
Crimson
then
Peak.
move on to. I'm really excited for the minecart carnage level. It's
Oh,
always a
I
fun
can't
one.
wait for the
Yeah,
minecart
that's gonna be
level,
amazing.
yeah.
I'm gonna get all the bananas.
Yeah.
When we look at jungle,
Yep.
it's not tropical-esque.
It's not tropical.
It is jungle.
No, it is. It's not jungle, swamp.
Or swamp.
It is swamp. Yeah, so it is not like a tropical island.
So I won't be finding any coconuts. It's gonna be
No,
murky,
it is going to be
gummy.
murky,
Okay.
scummy swamp
Gross.
where alligators might be wallowing.
Aye.
But they're crocodiles.
Do I have a
Shut
map or an idea of how large this island is? If I wanted to sail around it and kind of scope?
If you wanted to get a general sense of the island, you would have to basically you would have to chart it kind of yourself.
Oh, okay.
You have a general sense of like where the island is, but as far as like the details of the island, this is a long abandoned island by most civilizations. You guys have it would have been common knowledge that there is a cursed reputation about this island that people seem to avoid. That it's really just savage, and there's no natural resources to be gained. There's real no reasons. It was basically uninhabited besides the savage races of the lizard folk and who knows else.
Oh, okay.
What is this island called again? I forget.
Undertow Isle.
I turn to the rest of the group and I say, well, even with a name like that, I was hoping it wouldn't just be swamps.
It looks like no one's been here for quite a while. I look over the horizon. Do we see any ships at all?
Well, I mean, how close? You guys are probably. We'll say that right now it is right before dawn. It's probably 4:30 in the morning.
Okay.
And you guys have gotten up early, and the sun has still set. The sun is like barely rising. You see the very, very dull like bits of gold and orange at the very edge of the horizon where the sun will rise, and the night air is still very cool. And the air, even once you get a little closer, you're probably about 50 miles out still. 30 to 50.
So we're like way out still. We can just kind of like see it on the.
No, so you're probably about like 30 miles out.
Okay. Well, do we see any ships at all?
So it's far away where you don't see any ships currently at the moment.
All right. So it's a fair point that we don't see anybody right now. So my question is, do we have a plan as far as approaching this island? Do you have a recommendation as far as we know they
What's
have
the current like?
Good question.
So it would be, you would have to make, so you're going to look overboard and check the current.
Is that investigation?
Then be a nature check.
Oh.
Never do nature checks, right?
No, I mean, seems natural enough.
That's where you're a Viking.
I only got an 11.
11. You are a ranger and you are familiar with the wilderness, but forests are really your natural place. You are not used to the sea. You do understand how currents work. You look down. It looks to be choppy, and it does seem to get choppier the closer you get to this island. But you're not really able to tell any sense of the current.
I also think that my ghostly ship, it just sort of glides, sort of regardless of for the most part, the ocean stuff is
So yeah, ideally,
it's
generally
not as
you
I've
have.
heard that. That's very
it's not as
good.
dependent, and it's part of its speed factor.
So we could have gone through the storm, as you're saying. Why didn't you do
Absolutely
this?
not. No, there are limits.
Okay, good. Now, are we at all concerned about the dragon turtle that we know to exist somewhere around here?
I remember you be mentioning that when we first journeyed together.
And we haven't mentioned it since, so I just want to make sure we bring
wasn't
it up.
that closer to the harbor? I thought that was keeping ships. That was
The last you had seen of it was.
We have no way of knowing whether it followed us out here or if it's still back to Gullhaven.
I'm also surprised not to be seeing the fleet that you mentioned here at the borders of the island.
I'm surprised as well, honestly, so it makes me a bit nervous that they're at least expecting someone and perhaps preparing trying to lure us in.
No, they're probably just on the back of the Hydra and he's under the water.
The Hydra.
Yes, they're probably just all dead.
Oh, that'd be pretty easy.
Would it benefit us to circle the island and see if we can find a port or see if we can see anything on the other side of the island?
It couldn't hurt. I wonder how much time that would take.
Do we have any idea how big this island is?
I can't say from looking straight at it.
Make this general intelligence check with advantage using your nautical.
That's not good. That's acceptable. Let's go 14.
14. You're getting closer now, and the sun is starting to rise. The sea breeze is starting to pick up a little bit, and it's getting a little bit warmer as the sun's rising, and the smell on the air is getting a little bit almost fouler as you approach this island. You look out, and your experience in sailing has given you a pretty good idea of how to gauge. This is probably an island that's 100 miles across.
Oh wow.
Is that big?
That's a big island.
Okay.
It's like I think like the big island of Hawaii is like 95 miles across.
Oh wow, so it's like
Yeah.
a big ass. Okay, cool.
I'd be proposing that we circle around in one direction or another and just scout out the place. What do you think?
I think that's reasonable.
Maybe not 100. Maybe not
Wouldn't
100
that
miles.
take like 5 days? Circling around an island, it's 100.
Probably not 100. Actually, probably not 100 miles. We're gonna retcon this. I'm trying. My concept of it's probably actually gonna be. It's probably gonna be half of that, like 50 miles across.
I say we continue rounding the island before we get to shore. Just until we see a sight that's worth our attention.
Right, there's no reason that we have to circle the entire island. If we see a spot that looks favorable, we should make haste and try to go as quickly as we can.
What is that smell?
Sorry.
Do I recognize the smell?
No. I don't think you actually even roll for that.
I roll a 1, and I don't.
It just smells. It's not anything particular. It just kind of smells like
Sylvia.
the dankness of. We got some.
Hey,
We got.
thanks for the
Thanks,
cheers.
Thanks,
Hey,
Raz.
hey,
You're the best.
Thanks.
Welcome. So
So-
there is
Very
it
prepared
just
for
kind of
cheers.
smells like a fetid, kind of boggy scent.
I think that may hap be the swamp.
I don't like it.
No, it isn't the most pleasant smell, but if you be sailing as long as I have, you'd learn to become accustomed to most unpleasant smells, yes.
So
So you've smelled a lot of smells then.
I'm a big smeller, yes.
So I'll defer to you, honestly. So I think that what I would say is that we should just keep an eye out for any other ships and try to be as... I don't know how stealthy you can be in a boat, but I would say that let's just keep sailing until we see...
If you'll recall, my ship had not been found during the day for the 3 years I was voyaging at sea. I think if we keep our distance, we might be quite
Good point.
invisible to the naked eye.
All right. That's
I hope they
nifty.
don't have any clothes on their eyeballs.
Aye.
I'm really tired.
So you get the sense that it would take a full day to sail around the island.
Okay.
And so it would basically just take you from dawn to the following into the night.
I'm approaching it head on. I'm going to steer the ship
Okay.
to the clockwise direction, heading left around it.
Okay.
And I'm going to try to keep a distance so that it's just staking to the horizon where we can maybe see some features, but far enough away as much as I can control that I don't think will be perceived.
Okay. I just want you to make a general... How about you make 2 checks, make an intelligence, and then just a dexterity check, straight. Are you proficient with water vehicles?
I am.
So add your...
Add my proficiency? All right.
To both.
All right. Dexterity first. We'll go 8, and then plus 3 is 11. And then for the regular intelligence style, we'll go 15.
15. So, you spend a full day sailing around this island. And it's basically however big I need it to be, so distance is really relative.
Just
Maybe
do your try.
maybe it's like a 30-mile island, I don't know. And you sail around, you're going clockwise. So you're coming at it from the east.
Assuming
It's heading west.
I meet it.
You're heading west. So you manage to see that there seems to be a sloping topography going up, and although the island is mostly round, it does seem to come out into jagged areas. Sometimes it slopes down into beaches, others there's high cliffs, and it just seems to be miles and miles and miles of swamp. As you get a good look, I want the group to make a group perception check.
Oh shit.
Well,
It's the smell squad.
Natural 20. I see through the island. That's 22.
I had a 5.
10.
13.
11. Wait, no, that's a 7.
2.
Ooh, wow.
Okay.
Perceptive.
Good to know. So,
We're fucked.
there are miles and miles of dense swampland. These are heavy trees, just coated in overgrowth, and it seems that there are small outlets and small rivers and creeks kind of emptying out on all sides of the southern portion of the island as you're making your way down south around the island. As you make your way north, you see that the beach curves inward, and you see a huge bay carved into one side of the island. And on the far end of this bay, you see a fleet. An anchored fleet right by the shore, about towards the center of the island, towards the center of this bay, on the mouth of a large river, emptying out into this bay. And from your estimation, it seems to be about 24 ships. Around 24 ships.
It's a big fleet.
It's a big fleet. And
you're sure they can't see us right now?
As sure as I can be, aye.
So what can you see through your special magical...
Allow me to telescope, shall I?
I peek through.
You telescope, and you see that these ships that you have not seen before, these are a vast array collection of different types of ships from all over the world. You've seen some that would be very accustomed to you far north, up to Yorn. Some that are more you'd consider southern in the temperate areas. Some in as far as Yulong or south its Neckbed, or even across the city.
Sure.
So a lot of different types of ships. Seems to have been basically commandeered for who knows how long. But it seems that you could probably guess in your pirating knowledge that this is a pirate fleet that would have taken years to amass. And there are a little bit of extra knowledge that you get that there does seem to be a heavy amount of damage on a number of them. It seemed that whatever battles that had recently been engaged took a pretty heavy toll. You see big, large burn marks, some that are just really sloppily patched together, but that's really all you're able to tell that far. They do seem to be anchored in sloppy formation, and arising on this river seems to be what looks like it would be a city, if you could call it that. It seems to be built out of the remnants of ships, and just pieces of wood and metal and stone. You see that it seems to be built into the cliffs and onto the natural rock formation, just sloppily, ships and pieces of wood built all up as high as they could possibly go before toppling over, and you probably get the gist that some of the structures had toppled over. But a very deliberately built...
This is in the bay, or
on the shore of the
on the
bay.
shore of the bay?
On the shore of the bay, right on the mouth.
So it's like a bunch of wreckage.
So it looks like a bunch of wreckage all cobbled together.
I think we be finding their headquarters.
How big are these ships? Like, would you say they are huge ships, or...
They range. There are several huge ships. Most of them are about average size, and there's a number of the smaller ships.
Are the huge ships on the order of magnitude larger than my ship, or are they the same size?
I would say that there's probably like 3 ships that are an order of considerably
next
larger
class,
than yours,
yeah.
the next class up. And
Can we see the flags they're flying?
they are black flags, and then you can see that there might be a marking on them, but it'd probably be too far away for Matthias to see that.
Okay. I can't describe. Okay. I articulate what I've just seen to the rest of the party.
Okay.
I don't think we'd be wanting to set anchor in this cove here.
I agree.
I'm concerned by how outnumbered it appears we may be.
You've mentioned this before, and I appreciate
Yes,
your
I-
caution, but I don't have much fear when it comes to a large fleet like this.
Fair enough. I enjoy living, and I'd like to stay that way.
As a pirate, they might all kill you, but I'd probably be making good friends on that beach there.
So that's why you're not afraid. You would just befriend them.
I'm a very charismatic gentleman.
All right. Well, I think for now, let's keep going, and then we'll maybe land on the other side of the island if we see fit.
I'm in agreement, unless you be thinking Adelaide Blue is in the ship configuration there.
It's certainly possible, but regardless, I think we need some sort of plan of action.
I would say let's let's go around the whole island and see what makes, once we kind of chart it out. Are we writing down sort of?
I've got one of those things where I'm like walking it down the map, and no, it's the kind of the contractor or compactor. What
Yeah,
it's
it's
math
You mean
terminology.
the one that draws, where you like put the thing in,
Yeah,
draw the
you
circle?
walk it
Oh,
forward.
Yeah,
He's hoisting the hoistables.
I'm
back
hoisting the
down,
hoistables.
Yeah,
I've got one of those things you look at the stars and you like the mirror and everything.
That's-
It's all
yeah,
golden.
That one I don't know what it's
That's
called.
the sexton.
Yeah, the sextant.
Okay, so you continue sailing northward around the island. You have to go far up where there seems to be just a bit of swamp as it curves down around, almost like a horn. And as you sail down the northern coast, you're able to get probably the closest that you're able to the actual volcanic-looking mountain and the keep. And as you look forward, you're able to get close enough to see black shapes flying, not buzzing, but flying all over this keep, down towards the direction of that that city that you had seen. And
Do they all look like they're going in one direction, or would you say there's traffic both
it
ways?
looks like there's traffic both ways.
Okay.
So it's going from the. So we see them flying. Where are they going? Where are they coming from?
It looks like they're coming from the general area of that harbor, flying back and forth all around the keep and then the surrounding mountainside.
Oh, just
and then
up to the keep.
up to the
Okay.
keep, and then some down towards other sides of the mountain. But there seems to be a large number of black shapes just flying all around the top of this island. They're concentrating mostly up and around the mountainside.
Got it. Flying dragon.
As you curve your way down back, you've almost finished making your rounds, and I want
Around the island?
around the island.
Okay.
And it's approaching dusk. It's at dusk at this point now, and there's the last lights of day. The wind is going against you, so that smell of the swamp has kind of dissipated a little bit. It's a welcome smell, just kind of that same salty sea air to return to you. And you curve around the island, and this area, the north eastern tip of the island, is particularly jagged cliffs, sharp rocks. The current does seem to get a little bit closer. You even feel it start to tug a little bit more on your ship than you're used to standard. As you see remnants of masts, sails, bits of wood here and there. It looks like there has been a large number of wreckages here, even from as far away as you are. And there is a strange rock formation. I want you to make a perception check.
I would happily do that.
There's spyglass.
Nope, I'm gonna just lose it. Let's go with 15. I'm not proficient.
What? It depends. Perception?
No, I mean I'm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see a cave that seems to be far larger than any of the other little pockets that you had seen on the coast through your spyglass, and this seems to be actually carved into the shape of something, and it seems to be a longer snout that almost looks skull-like, but also vaguely reptilian, with strange horns coming off of the side of it.
Do you see the cove there? Just on the edge of the northern easternmost side of the island there.
Barely.
Can you feel the water pulling the ship?
Oh, the water's pulling the ship towards it?
Well, I would assume you can feel the tug.
There's
Because
a little bit of tug, a little bit of rocking. It's being pulled generally in this.
Rodek doesn't have his sea legs yet. Of course, we can feel the boat being pulled by the water.
The water be crashing into the side of the island and creating a cove like that. I think that might be why they call this place Undertow Island.
Oh, very wise.
Oh, I thought it was called Camel Toe Island. Oh, I gotta change my notebook what I wrote down.
Does it look? Is it like a? You said that. I guess you described that it was like a reptilian shape.
Yeah, I described to the rest of the party what I'm seeing, and I described the wreckage. Does it look like it's something that I could sail into with a ship? Is it that big an operation, or
You, rather than just rolling an intelligence check, it would be very difficult. It is large enough for a ship to sail into, but you're not sure if water even goes that far. It's too far out. It is a very large cave mouth with a very large mouth of this basically statue carved.
Okay. And I would make the
inside
same determination if I thought about my whaleboat that folds.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
That may be an entrance, but I expect it to be very risky given the ship graveyard that you see in the front there against those rocks.
Could we get close to it without having to go in?
There aren't any fleets or
Not that you can see from here.
buzzers that I can see.
I'll bring the ship around and see if we can get a closer view.
No, hold on. Before we turn the steering wheel.
The steering wheel be turning.
All right. Well, while we go towards it, I'd just like to point out that vision you had of Adelaide Blue, we were in a sea cavern, very much like that one right there. So it wouldn't surprise me if her cult of
We went back in time and we're about to go back into that same cavern?
possibly, or it might be a different one.
Oh,
You never
yeah,
know.
probably that.
Are you saying that is where Adelaide Blue most likely is?
I'm saying that it's possible that that might be one location where she might be. As we went into a similar formation, does it look kind of similar?
You could probably tell if Matthias passed over the spyglass. Are you going to share the spyglass with anyone, or is it just are you using it by the way?
Make a charisma check. No, I'm here to take it.
So, and I also want to see how old like the stonework is.
Okay.
Of course.
You make whatever an intelligence.
It's
perception or what is it?
Hold on. It is
How close are we?
history check.
Depends on.
Come for the story and stay for the fine stonework.
Matthias,
You
how
know
far
that
out
gets
are
me
we?
going.
How far are you taking us in?
I'm gonna take us in. I would be a good judge of depth.
Okay.
I think, and so I'm gonna take us in until I start to feel like I can comfortably anchor
Okay.
and then I'm going to unfurl the sails to try to drift. To see if we start getting pulled in, or to see to try and avoid getting hit by rocks.
Every knot that you go, it feels like the current is getting stronger and stronger and more chaotic, and it feels like it's even affecting your ship. When you've dealt through weather elements that has affected it, but this is probably the strongest you've encountered.
I got a 26.
26.
Oh, nice.
On the stone.
Those are some nice rocks.
So I guess my question is,
They're
right, does it look
really-
like it's ancient, carved by the Dragonborn, or is this like a recent
When you
pirate
look
thing?
at a rock and it's cut just right.
I would say
rock is
with a
thicker
roll
than
of that roll that high, it
Can't knock
seems to
that
be ancient.
out of the water.
It seems to be incredibly ancient, but incredibly well crafted by skilled masons, and you are able to pick out in your memory a similar style of architecture that you had seen before in the ruins of Ninsar, up in the Viridian Hills, near Prideful.
Which was a green
Dragonborn city.
Dragonborn city. Okay. Well, it's definitely Dragonborn.
It sounds like that's where she'll be. We know she was doing stuff with the ruins.
Do we? So I think this is. So is it supernatural? Is that the sense you were getting that the?
Or do I get a sense that there's any magical
I passed
pull
the
to
flag as
the waters? It's just
It
very
doesn't
strong.
necessarily need to be supernatural, but it could just be incredibly strong current.
Can we get like close enough for walking distance? Because I could cast water walk. We could all just get out and walk across the water if we can just get close enough where we're not walking for hours.
Ian, how much distance be that?
It lasts for an hour, so however far we can get in an hour.
So actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I'd like to say before we rush into anything, I feel like we should finish traveling around the island and making sure that there's nowhere else we want to land.
I must say, you're the most cautious dwarf I've ever met.
I like to survive usually.
That's incredibly accurate. And Rodek, while I appreciate the caution, I think that I really don't think we need to explore the entire island. I think that once we have a pretty good idea of where we want to drop anchor, we can explore from there on foot. I know that there's only so much we're going to be able to see from the bow of the ship.
So we're just going to walk right up to the cave where there may be lots of bad guys.
It's as if you haven't been joined with us for the last several months.
We did it last time and it worked out kind of well.
We snuck in from the side, kind of.
Listen, I
Why-
learned my lesson.
why-
I'm
why
not
do you
going to
think
do
we
anything
won't do
entirely
that now?
rash, but still, we shouldn't be wasting time just sailing and sailing and
I
sailing.
wasn't suggesting walking in there and saying, "Hey everyone, we're here," but we can just get to shore from here without risking the boat. Is all I'm saying.
I agree with Genji.
As you get closer,
Yeah, I've been
So-
driving it this way.
so you've been heading just straight towards it.
I've been heading into it in a way that if I feel like there's a point of no return, given the discussion that's happening, I would try to stop the ship. But I also am very eager about this cove.
You feel as if it's getting more and more stronger and stronger, and as you're making your way, you're getting closer and closer to the island, and you see several black shapes come closer and closer down towards the coast, and you're a good bit away, but you start to see as a number of flying winged creatures head towards, like, kind of right at the top of the cove and land.
Do you be recognizing these creatures?
Dracula.
Do they look like the vultures that we saw?
Yeah, the giant vultures.
Okay. We do, and they are indeed the vultures that raided Gullhaven just last week, or a few days.
And were you able to best one of these creatures?
We haven't tried yet, I don't think.
Well, which one? How big are they? Are they the ones that we killed?
They're the ones, yeah, they're the size that you killed.
Okay.
They're just the giant.
We've killed a few.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
So are we prepared to be spotted right now?
it almost be nighttime, and my crew might be also of some assistance in this matter.
Now you're thinking. So why don't we, instead of continuing to say, is it still daylight out? Like,
What was that?
is it still daylight out?
It's probably the sun is peeking back on the horizon. You see that Matthias's men are still unarmed, but the last rays of sunlight are disappearing behind the horizon.
I'm going to try to turn the ship in 180 degrees
Okay.
and sort of Tokyo drift backwards, which would, naturally the friction of the sails going in reverse would slow it as much as possible. But I want to moonwalk into the cove just so that I give myself as much time as possible for my crew to arm themselves.
Okay. And you make another dex check with adding your proficiency for
My
water
pleasure. Dexterity. That's going to be great. 8.
As you attempt this, you start to feel the pull of the current, tugging very strong at the ectoplasmic form of your ship, and you start to lose control, and you realize if you don't go back and reverse your course, is going to be past the point of no return.
I'll loose the steering wheel and let the current take us as we're going until we're pointed back, and then I'll try to avoid any rocks that might be forthcoming.
Okay, so you're heading back towards the...
Well, if I can get away and give myself more time.
So basically, the idea is that with that, you are attempting to Tokyo drift back into it and avoid it, but because of you not being so dexterous, you realize that you're not going to be able to get as close as you would like without basically the current fully taking you, at least currently.
Okay.
And so you have the opportunity to basically adjust course and book it. And book it and continue to go around the island, but basically it's going to be past them. You're not going to be able to inch it anymore.
We're close to the point of no return. Should I turn the ship away and we walk, or should I turn in?
Turn away! Turn away!
That's turn in, my friend.
Turn away!
Turn in.
Wah!
Turn in. Let's go.
Turn away.
Matthias, I've got your back.
Well, for what purpose?
We be turning in.
I'm turning in.
Okay.
I did say turn away.
Yeah, it was 2 to 3.
It was 2 to 3.
No reason.
And as you...
Ready that water walk spell.
Oh, it's ready. Actually, we already have it. I've been casting it this whole time.
Oh, thank you.
As you are approaching this rough patch, the current shifts around. I want you to make another dexterity check.
Happily. That's going to be a 13 that time.
When I see him, I would see him, trying all of this weird stuff, right?
Yeah.
So,
I've been casting water walk.
So I'm going to casually kind of look over at him and be like, let me tell me that one thing. Shabuna, hee. Do you feel any, different? Did that work? I felt different when she did it to me. I'm going to try and give him bardic inspiration, because it's a moonwalk. So it was my Michael Jackson. It was a really in-depth meme. I'm giving you bardic inspiration.
Shimona!
That one was super meta.
I'm gonna start putting all of my armor into the bag of
So yeah, you have a bardic inspiration.
Okay.
And tying it
It's
to
a
my...
D6?
Yeah,
Okay, and I'll just add that to the 13.
if you want to.
Well, yeah, I do, because it'll be a 15 now.
15? So you are trying to steer the ship, and you're trying to head towards this mouth of the current, the mouth of the cave. And the current is so strong, you start to see that on the left-hand side as you're coming in down from the south east. As you're heading back towards, you see that on your left-hand side there seems to be the largest clump of the remnants. You can see that the current seems to go past the cave and smash it into the rocks and the coast on the side.
I'm screaming at my men to do everything that we can to avoid it. Whatever they need to do to the sails, whatever we need to batten down.
As you're screaming at your men, you start to, was it you with 15?
Yeah.
With the 15, you realize your ship is starting to get pulled back towards the cove, and you're not able to head straight into the cove as the current starts pulling your ship in a direction where there's high sea cliffs and these rocky, stony shore that goes all the way up with rocks all around you.
Okay, I'm going to cast Control Water.
Okay?
Which, for the next 15 minutes, lets me control water. I can redirect flow, so cause flowing water in the area to move in a direction you choose, even if the water has to flow over obstacles, up walls, or in other unlikely directions. Water in the area moves as you direct it, but once it moves beyond the spell's area, it resumes its flow based on the terrain conditions. Water continues to move in the direction you chose until the spell ends or until you choose a different effect. So I'm going to direct us out of danger.
What's the range on that?
300 feet.
Okay. Wait, what's the radius of the water? Like, how much water can you control?
All of the water within 300 feet.
Okay. So
That's dramatically powerful.
I've been holding on to this one since we stepped on ship.
So as you looks like you're going to smash into these huge rocks. Ganji managed to control water.
Brace yourselves!
And I want you to make another dex check with advantage because of Ganji's help.
All right, let's do a 22.
22. And you manage to avoid completely smashing onto these incredibly jagged rocks, and you find that you're passing along the coast, and you're able to, although the current is pulling you into the coast, you manage to the softer gravel beach starts to come to an expanse, and you're able to avoid the rocks, but your ship crashes into the gravel beach and beaches onto a large gravel beach that goes about probably 35 feet up to huge sea cliffs. The raging current and the raging tide is splashing up against the Devil's Due now, this more spectral glowing ship now that you're in night is now arced completely still on this ground, probably almost entirely out of the water at this point.
I be sorry.
Than we had last time.
I be sorry, me ship. I be sorry.
Can you put it into a little box like you do with the?
No, it does. It's just gonna be here.
All right. So what's the plan?
Well, we've got the crew now much closer to where we need to be, so I assume they can help us.
Where do we need to be?
I assume we have some way to find Adelaide Blue, right, Matthias?
Not until her blood falls in the water again do I be knowing where she is exactly.
Well, damn. Okay, so I suppose we can start with the spooky alcove like we found last time.
I think that, and I'm gonna turn and start to look. Is the ship keeled in any way, or is are we at an angle, or are we just?
As you hit the beach, it would have keeled over to your right, but you curved alongside and basically scraped alongside of this cliff, and so you're tilted up against this cliff. So it would have keeled over and spilled everyone out. But
Does it look like we're going to be able to jump down to the beach and make progress into the cove?
The cove, this is not on the
Can
same...
you just give it a little sketch?
Yeah.
Like I'm just trying to.
What? We have a map.
Okay. Oh hey.
Brother wants to know exactly how boned we are.
Yes.
Oh,
I would love to know how bone.
it's an isle.
Oh my goodness, look at Mike, your art skills have gotten so good.
This is incarnate. So I wasn't able to do a gradual slope, but imagine a big volcano coming up.
Okay.
Did you freehand that whole
No.
thing?
This is incarnate. So this is the cave here with the mouth. You were trying to come down and around and pull in here. You were unable to do that because you're weak with your rolls,
yeah.
and you're basically right about here at the sea cliff.
Oh, so we're not in the cove. We're at
you're
the...
here, and so it's more just jagged. You actually were lucky, thanks to Gandy's shit, rather than just smashing and just falling into the water. He basically allowed you to get to the beach.
He redirected us to the beach.
Yes.
Instead of smashing.
And so
against
you're
the-
basically keeled against this cliff right here.
There's some
I
powerful
got
magic.
you covered, buddy.
I'd be thanking you.
Walk on water, perhaps, in that cove, need be.
We can still do that. That is still.
So are there vultures like coming at us right now? Like, I look around for vultures.
Yeah.
Make a perception check.
17.
17.
Let's just drop that.
Yeah.
You look up into the sky, and you hear that familiar "ah" as you see the flapping wings of a vulture flying overhead, and then back up towards the keep.
Okay. How tall do the ship's masts go up the cliff? Like, could we get to the top of the cliff by climbing the masts?
You'd probably be. It would probably be another 25 feet.
Do we want to try to climb the cliffs and get away from the ship, or do we want to continue on the beach?
I'd be most interested in what's inside that cove, based on your earlier descriptions.
Agreed, but if that vulture sounds like it spotted us from what Rodek has presumably just told us, so...
I think we need to stop the vultures, I agree.
Can somebody shoot the vultures? Are they far
Can
away?
I try to animal handle them towards us?
So,
I mean, I'm assuming they're too far away for any of my spells. 'Cause my
so
spells are-
annually you could attempt to shoot at disadvantage to shoot and see how much damage you can do.
Do it!
I don't mind that.
No, I want to animal handle them. I don't want to shoot
So
them.
this vulture is flying away, and it's not something that you could like call out, "Hey vulture, come here!" Like it's animal handling like a horse, or like there's a beast there with you, and
No, she just holds out her arm like this, right?
It's not like an
I was
ability.
gonna do a really great vulture meeting call, but now you don't get to.
I
see
mean,
that.
if you want to try that, you're welcome to try.
Do it as you shoot.
But just remember,
Isn't that when...
DCs
Oh,
exist, and they can be very high.
And vultures.
And I don't know what your wisdom is.
And when vultures think they're about to mate, their AC goes up by 5.
Yeah, I better say that one.
To be fair, many goals won't shoot probably.
So is it within range that I could shoot it?
You could make a disadvantage attack. Because the longbow is like 600 feet,
It's
right?
yeah, the range is
Yeah,
600
something
feet.
silly. So it'll probably be
Should I
nearly.
attack, guys?
You'll probably
Get its attention!
Kill it!
Rodek's about to have a heart attack. You don't.
Okay, I'm gonna make a bow attack.
What are we doing here? I never knew. We're so fucked. We're so fucked.
19?
19?
I'll use
Disadvantage? That hits.
Yep, I got 11 and a 9.
Annulin. Clutch.
Annie. 600 feet is the range.
And she's got 2 attacks, right?
Yeah.
Think.
Okay, so that is 10 damage, and I'll make a second bow attack.
Okay, you get 2 attacks, and that's it. Disadvantage.
Oh, 20.
20, that hits. Roll damage.
Mikey's like, fuck all of this.
You have Colossus Slayer, don't forget.
And then Tiamat
Would
flies
I
down from the sky.
17 damage.
You are. It's dark, but you're able to see the moon has come out, and there is a bright shimmering glow, and you can get the idea that the moonlight is how this whatever it may be riding this vulture or the vulture saw you and was heading back towards the keep. It spotted you. You shoot one, and you can barely see. It's at the very edge of the range of your bow. It flies in. You think it makes purchase, and just to be sure, you think this is the last shot you have. You let the arrow fly. It whizzes, and all of a sudden, the wings shoot outward, and it falls down, and you see two small humanoid figures falling down off of this giant vulture, flailing their arms until they disappear behind
And then
the
a
cloud.
pixelated dog with the vulture pops back up and goes.
That's badass.
Well done.
Well done, Mikali.
What?
The perception check that you guys had was just the one.
Fair enough.
Well, Rodek, do you feel better now? That was an incredible shot.
Well, I think once one more comes by and sees a gigantic ghost ship against the cliffs, I think we'll be spotted anyway, but at least buys us some time, so let's do something.
I wonder if me
Okay.
men can start to help with
I
that.
want to cast polymorph on Rodek.
Okay.
He has to roll a thing.
If he doesn't want to.
Unless he's just
I
gonna, he's
do
never gonna let
indeed
it
want
happen.
to.
Is it going to be a vulture? I hope it's a vulture.
I'm gonna grab a seltzer while you do this.
It's easy to polymorph the willing.
It's a wisdom.
I'm gonna
He's
use
really
the
good.
scan
He's really good at wisdom.
The Scanlan's not going to work for you.
It's not gonna
That's
work.
like
You
a
have to beat a 15.
It's a 7.
Okay, I want to polymorph him into...
Well done, Annulin.
I want to polymorph him into a rabbit that looks almost exactly like Annulin's rabbit. Pick him up by the scruff of the neck and chuck him at her.
Pocket rabbit. I miss Pocket
So
Rabbit.
pocket
Now you
rabbit.
have two.
A little rabbit named Pocket.
I didn't know you had a rabbit. That's cute.
Yep.
I'm happy the whole time.
The rabbit's been mentioned
I knew
twice
that.
in our
Of course.
2.5 year campaign.
I knew that. Of course
It's
I knew
dead.
that.
It's dead.
It's not dead.
It's not dead. It's like in our Feywild campaign, Frost has a 10-foot pole that just disappears when he doesn't need it. He can somehow make it through doors, and he's not pole vaulting everywhere.
Storage devices.
Yeah, I mean,
Waiting for that one
I'm
really
losing- it's
obscure
like-
time that we
It's
need
not
to
innuendo. The crew, I'm going to talk to them. I'm going to ask them if they think that we can shield or hide or obscure the ghostly nature of my ship on this beach in any way.
you talk to them, and you get the sense in your strange communication with them
Yeah, it's
that
been 3 years.
you
We've
know
got, like,
that-
hand signals
that
down
you're
and
not
shit.
able to make your ship invisible. The devils cannot
Sure,
go invisible. They cannot go invisible. They are less more obvious during the day because of they're more transparent and the sun shining through them. They have this kind of strange spectral glow to them in the evening, and it's just that in the day kind of gets dispersed by the natural light, and it's not something that they can just kind of cast an invisibility spell.
Unfortunately, I believe we're stuck with the amount of spectral light being cast by me ship and me crew. Unfortunately, I thought we were going to end in the cove, and I'm not as good a shot as Annulin, unfortunately.
The bunny giggles.
I suppose we move quickly then, and Sylvie, you'll be able to undo that thing you've done to our dwarf companion if we need him, correct?
Well, yeah, but
Not
he
just
said
yet. Not just yet.
he said to do something, so I just figured that would be something to do.
That is something. You cannot be denied. Alright, so...
Matthias, would you like to lead the way?
Hi, do I feel like I need to use the boat to get into the cove, or can we walk the beach?
There is no beach entrance, so you would need to be walking on water. How does water walk with current work?
I mean, we're just walking on top of the water.
So
It's like one of those airport things where you're walking at a
I
little
mean,
faster.
I can
so
say...
you have to run against it. Would be the idea. Is that
you move across any liquid surface as if it were harmless solid ground.
so? I would say it probably would take the topography, but I guess current would not be affecting.
It sounds like no, yeah.
Fantastic. How much more time do we have on that?
It's a ritual. I can cast it again if you give me a few minutes. And we can get it again for another hour.
Start the ritual up every 50 minutes and we'll be all
Yeah,
set.
please, Genji, do the honors.
Okay, so I do
I-
that. And we all have water walking.
Okay.
Right around the time he finishes that, I will undo polymorph on Rodek.
I crumple to the ground under his weight.
Oh, yeah,
I don't get up.
should
I don't make
undo-
any effort to get up. I'm just sitting there. And I look to Sylvie and I say, I told you everybody gets one.
One what? I get a present?
That's all I'll say.
Well, if you keep being a little bitch, I'm gonna keep turning you into things.
Well, when we all die, when the DM punishes us horribly.
What's a DM?
What's a Dracula?
It's kind of like a daytime.
He means carpe diem. It's,
Yeah.
it's a very
Dracula is-
common saying.
A Dracula is a thing and it does a little dance sometimes, and it has fangs and it sucks your blood. And
I
it-
think
and
we've
Jane
all
knows
been
it.
at sea too long. We're all a little cranky. Let's just calm down.
I'll roll the rope ladder out from the side of the ship so that we can walk to the water. And being the first one down, I very cautiously put my foot against the water to test and see if I sink.
So you are entirely on the shore, ground. So it's entirely hard.
Okay, well, we'll make our way from the deck to the
Okay,
beach.
so you make your way down to the deck, and your the five of you make it down with the ghostly rope ladders fairly easily, and you look up, and it seems as if your crew makes no motion to follow. You may remember a rule about them.
I do remember. I am just trying to decide if I want to use it.
Lads, be coming with us, and we'll go into the cove together, and perhaps we can all enjoy the redemption of slaying Blue.
You would then probably remember that being that your crew cannot step on dry land, Davy Jones style, they're effectively trapped on the Devil's Due.
Yeah, I remember that now. And I'm looking at them and I'm like,
Well, what's wrong with you? Come on down. We be going. Adelaide is right in there.
You guys have great plans. These are really just top notch.
So I was looking forward to not being the one having to come up with a plan for once. And Matthias, I had your back here, pal, but I'm confused as to what's going on now.
Me men can walk on the water as well during certain times of day, and I, unfortunately, without any water here, I can't think of any way to get them from here to the water so that we might all go into the cove together as a small army, so to speak.
So is it just dry land they can't walk on? So if it's wet land, they can walk on it?
We've never really tested it. It's always been sort of an on the ocean type deal.
Oh.
How many men do you have?
34.
34.
Is that a big crew?
That seems like a very well planned out and reasonable number.
We could piggyback them.
By the way, West Coaster, yes, I've been considering that, but I also don't want to use my other level 4 spell if I don't have to. I could cast Control Water and rise the level of the water.
Idea.
That's also our way out of here to get the boat back onto water, so I don't know that we want to do that right now.
We have a few rowboats on the ship. We could fill them with water and allow the crew to jump and hop from one to the next.
And then there will be another vulture, and then they'll find us, and then we'll all be killed.
I think we may be a bit out of luck here with your crew there, Matthias.
There'd be a lot of treasure in the ship anyways. Perhaps it's best if they stay and defend.
Good backpedal. Let's head towards the
I moonwalk
the cave.
often, yes. Okay, I'm going to leave the crew, and we'll continue to not eat into our walking water time.
Okay. So, you all make your way. Are you guys stealthing at all, or how are you guys doing this?
Oh, we'll steal as much as possible. I'm going to hug the cove wall, and as soon as I can find like something that I can walk on that I feel is going to be maybe a path into the deeper cove, I'll get onto that.
Okay. So, everyone make a stealth check.
21.
16.
16.
Yeah.
Okay.
12.
16.
19.
19.
20.
20. Okay. And so you're all stealthing along, and I would say that with how rough and rocky the waves are, and with the top of the current affecting you, you're probably moving at about half speed. And so you are stealthing, so you are moving carefully. And who's in the lead?
Not me.
I think Matthias and I were kind of leading the charge.
Aye.
Okay, Matthias and Vanders, I both want you to make perception checks.
That's a bit better than general. Let's see here.
17.
Okay. 17.
Oh, that's what I got. I got a 17 as well.
Flies.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. And you are making your way across the water, and both of you notice a dark shape beneath the waves coming towards you.
I would add the Devil's Sight that I enjoy.
What does that do?
The dark vision, even through magical darkness.
So you see make another perception check.
Mm-hmm. 6.
6. You see that there is a dark shape. It seems to be a large creature of some kind coming towards you, and then although it is just you're seeing in the dark. You're not able. It's beneath the waves, so the waves are so rough that it's tough to make out exactly what it is.
Are we still in the section of the cove that could have had a ship in it? Like it's a wide river. How fast is the current?
You're probably making your way through all of these rocky along the coast. You're seeing bits and pieces of masts and sails in this area, and bits of driftwood kind of wedged firmly in these rocks.
Okay. I communicate with Avantris.
Do you be seeing that shape there?
Unfortunately, I do. And I'm trying to keep quiet since we're stealthing. So I turn to the rest of the group and make a motion like, heads up, there's something here.
Do you have any idea what that be?
I have a feeling we're about to find out.
Where are we? We're on the water currently?
Normal.
And is there land on the cove, or is the cove entirely water?
So the cave that you saw is still probably another 20-minute walk on the water.
Okay.
Outside of
We haven't actually entered the
you have not entered the
darkness
cove.
of the
You're
cove.
on just the water. So just to help set the scene here, you guys
How
are
far from the shore are we?
back from the shore. You would probably, with the current taking you, you'd probably be able to move double movement. So you're probably, several minute run.
No.
Is the thing between us and the shore or coming from behind us?
It's coming from the direction of the cove.
And it's coming towards us?
Yes.
Okay, I book it the other way. I start sprinting as fast as I possibly can.
Okay. What are the others you doing?
I rolled, well, I don't know I rolled high, but I'm very stealthy, so I want to just kind of like hold and see if it passes by and doesn't see us.
Did you say there were rocks near us?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna climb up onto.
Yeah,
one of
I
the
was
rocks.
going to climb up on a rock.
Okay. So both of you climb up onto rocks. Sylvia, Annie, and Avantris, you're just going to stand. You're standing on the water.
I'm gonna climb.
Well, I'm close to Matthias, and I guess I see him climbing up on a rock, so I didn't come up with that idea, but so I'm not going to like do the exact same thing, but I'll hunker down near a rock.
Okay.
I'll mount the broom and just fly up in the air.
Okay. You get on the broom, fly up, and with that, you feel the dark shapes come beneath you, and all of a sudden, 4 bits of water breaks. Massive green shapes erupt out of the water. Almost feel like they're leaping incredibly far. These look like lion-like, but with the bottom half of a fish, as they are going to make attacks against. There are 4 of them total, and they're going to make attacks on the 4 people that are currently there. And so we are going to. We're just going to theater of the mind this biz. So.
Aye.
I have the tokens and shit, but I just don't have a map. And so these are large creatures. They have these huge fangs that are coming down. Their skin seems to be green and scaly, but still feline. And they have large flippers, almost like a seal or something. but at the end of each of their finger-like appendages in these flippers are razor-sharp claws. So we're going to make 4 attacks. And I'm going. This is a not a full surprise round. They're just going to get 1 attack each on each of you. But I'll just roll the attacks real quick. That is going to be on Ganji a 24 to hit.
It is.
Okay. $16 points of piercing damage to you.
Okay.
That is going to be a miss on Avantris as he hunkers down. 18 to hit Annulin. 18 to hit Annulin. That is going to do 10 points of piercing damage as it sinks its fangs into you. And then on Matthias, that is going to be a critical fail. It leaps up onto the rock and hits the side and crashes back into the water. And they're making basically a biting attack, leaping into you. With water walking, you're not able to go down. You're both on rocks, right? So you both got hit. I want both of you to make either athletics or acrobatic saving throws.
Okay. Saving throws?
Saving throws.
Okay.
Or no, dex or strength save. Or no, checks, sorry.
Oh, checks.
Yeah, just
not
checks.
saving.
Yeah, checks.
Okay.
Wait, so what do I add to that?
You're just making an
19.
acrobatic check or an athletics check.
19 for me.
19? Okay.
16.
16. So you feel as these massive lion creatures, aquatic lion creatures, try to pull you down into the waves, but they are unable to, and they swim back into the water. I want everyone to roll initiative.
Yeah. Not this guy.
Would that
He's a
include
coward.
being up in the air?
So you choose to engage.
I would like to, before we roll initiative, I'm feeling extra charming, and I shout out to Matthias and whoever's generally listening, something along the lines of, why don't I attempt to try to lead the charge on this one? And I would like to make some sort of a check to see if I can add my charisma bonus to my initiative.
Make an intelligence check, a charisma check, and a dex check.
Okay, intelligence check first. It's a 20.
Okay.
Charisma check
Yep.
is a 22.
Okay.
And the dex check is a 22 as well.
22. You are recalling the sparring and training that Matthias gave you. Very. It's vivid in your mind. It wasn't too long ago the last time you sparred. You are feeling like you'd be able to do that.
With that kind of rakish audacity, I think you'd be going first.
I rolled a
So 20,
19.
25.
I'm at 21.
21. Okay.
Am I rolling initiative?
Vanders, you're gone. You'd be gone if you choose to.
I guess I don't know how water walking works, and would I know how it works?
You're walking on water.
You're
Right,
walking
but
on-
like, would I know if it's concentration or not?
It's not.
I know, but would Rodek know that?
I don't think you'd think about that.
Yeah, I mean, would you care? Would it matter?
Initiative
19.
19.
I got a 13.
It basically, if I'm guaranteed to be able to walk on water
Angie,
the
what's
whole
your
time,
initiative?
then it would make a difference.
I got a 5.
I got a 4.
Good night.
So I'll turn around and seeing them all get fucked, but still, are you guys just on top of the water still?
Yeah.
Okay,
We're engaged.
I'm gonna pull my axe out of my bag and I'll head back and
Okay.
begrudgingly go back.
We'll see you in a round or two.
We'll see.
You were still a couple minutes away. If water walking is gonna drop, running for sure wasn't gonna save you.
Yeah, but I get
4 for her.
So 4 for you. So that's initiative. Annulin, your turn. As they're into the water, you can see them swimming around these shapes of these massive beasts.
Are any of them closer to me than others?
They're all about in range of you.
Okay. I will use the spell to put my hunter's mark on
Okay.
one of them
Okay.
and make 2 bow attacks.
Okay.
It's a 26 and a 27.
They both hit. Roll damage.
Man, you're killing it tonight. That's crazy.
Oh, I need to get my battle music going.
Thank you. Rodak ran away, away, oh Sir Rodak.
First damage is 18.
Okay, roll damage. Or yeah, 18. Roll the other one.
17.
Okay. 18, and so 17 hit.
No, 17 damage.
So
I got a 26 and a 27
Okay.
to hit, and a 17 and an 18 for damage.
They both sink into the water. You can see its blood comes up. Though the water is dark, you're able to see that they both found purchase and wounded it. So
I yell, get out of the water!
okay, Matthias,
Are any within melee range?
you could try to go and swing one stab down into the sea. with
Do I
disadvantage.
think that I would do better just waiting until one of them like free willies over me and I can just kind of take care of business, or do I feel like I should go for it now?
I think you think you'd be able to make like 2 swings at 2 different ones probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna splash into the water and see if
Okay.
I can get some blood going. Let's do this. We'll make my first attack. That's going to be an 8 to hit.
Okay.
And I will
misses.
make my second attack, and that's going to be a 20 to hit. Not a natural. That'll be fine. Are any other enemies of the creature within 5 feet? Do I get sneak attack?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. That's 11, 16.
16 points of damage.
Yep.
You swing at one and you see it narrowly dodge you. They're staying close to the top of the water to make their next strike. You get the idea of. The next one, though, however, does slice into the back of one of these sea lions, and it jolts a little bit,
lions.
and blood spins, comes up. And
Do I
goes
recognize that they're sea lions?
I thought they were lionfish.
Make a intelligence check.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna go with a 15.
15. You would probably get the idea that these are a mystical or monstrous creature known as a sea lion with half lion, half fish.
Aye, these be sea lions, say true.
I thought they were lionfish.
Close enough.
Okay, Vanders.
Okay, so as I am feeling extra audacious this battle, I would like to attempt to find one of the lionfish sea lions that are not currently engaged with anyone and try to stab it one-on-one.
Okay, go for it.
Do I need to roll anything?
Just make an attack with disadvantage.
With disadvantage?
Yes.
That's unfortunate.
Through the water, man.
Okay, I missed.
Okay. You stab your rapier down into the water, and it just barely misses. And so that would
Get out
be
of the water.
Monsters 1. Okay. And so with that, they're going to make the same 4 attacks, 1 on each of you. And for the 2, there's basically 2 rock formations. 2 are going to just jump onto that and make their leap onto that. And they are going to do all of their attacks, which is 3. So
There are 4 monsters or 2?
there's 4 monsters. So
I mean, we should have. I don't know how much time we have left on Water Walk.
Oh, it lasts an hour.
Yeah, but
and we've
that
only
was-
been walking for like 10 minutes.
Yeah?
I think.
Okay.
So we got plenty.
I
of
just
time.
want to make sure we're on top of that and that we don't all sploosh.
that is going to be 22 to hit on Ganji.
We'll do it.
Okay, he's going to sink his teeth into you. That is going to do...
Did you just assume that sea lion's gender?
I did. 11 points of piercing damage. and is going to make 2 claw attacks at you and fail completely miserably. The next one is going to be an attack on Annulin. First one is the bite. That is going to be a 23 to hit. That is going to deal 17 points of piercing damage, and it's going to make 2 claw attacks against you. That doing a 17 and a 22 to hit. Okay. Dealing, that's going to do considerably less. Wait, hold on. 5, 12, 17. 23 points of slashing damage as the both claws slash at you. Avantris, you are going to be bitten.
So just to be clear, that was 40 points of damage.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
All 3 attacks hit, right? That is going to be the bite hits, dealing.
I'm gonna uncanny dodge.
Okay.
That's what you get for taking down the vulture.
13 points of piercing damage on the bite, and then 2 claw attacks.
Sorry, I couldn't hear what that was.
That was
13.
13 points of piercing damage.
Hey.
Then we have the next one that is going to be one is going to miss, the other is going to hit. It's going to catch you with the claw, dealing 7 points of piercing damage or slashing damage with his claws. And then we had lastly need Matthias for the bite, and it's going to critically fail its bite. 2 claws.
Man,
It's literally the inverse.
Another crit fail, and the
It knows
last
you're
claw
good,
is
Spartan.
going to hit.
Finally, Jesus, I welcome it.
I'm swapping out the crits, and that is going to be 16 points of slashing damage.
All right, I can do math.
Genji.
All right, lay the scene for me. Where are any of us still in the water?
So Vanders is still on the water. Matthias is on the water. Both of you are on rocks. There's a sea lion on each of these rocks. The other 2 crash into the water.
We're not all on the same rock.
Okay. So there's some of us are still in the water.
On
Is
top of the water.
Rodek still in the water?
He's far away. He probably wouldn't
Can
be
we get
affected.
a sense by like
we're doing.
these things jumping, how high they can jump out of the water?
10 feet out of the water and 25 feet across.
Woo.
Okay, so there's one on the rock next to me.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna attack it.
Okay.
Which is not at disadvantage, I
Okay.
assume, because
Nope.
it's out of the water. All right.
Nope.
14 plus 6 is 20.
Hits.
Okay. 7 plus 3 is 10 damage.
10 damage. Okay.
And then I'm going to attack again.
Okay.
17 plus something hits.
Hits.
It's another 10 damage.
10 damage.
Nice.
This seems to be the one that Annulin had hit through the water. You see 2 arrows sticking out of it as blood's coming down. You bring your golden warhammer that is gleaming in that light, and you bash it twice. You seem to it bashes out a tooth, and blood is pouring from its mouth. We need Sylvie. This is what they look like, by the way.
Oh, it's a donkey. Not actually a donkey, but there they are.
Cute.
They are kind of cute. Look at those little guys.
I hear they're the
That's
chosen
pretty
one.
Here's the TPK.
Yeah, it
I
shouldn't be.
think
There we
Never.
Especially if people would just fucking get out of the water.
who's still in the
Or
water?
just jump on the rocks.
Vandris.
Vandris, Matthias.
Matthias jumped on the rock.
I thought
Jumped
Vandals
on the
was on the
rock.
rock.
Oh, that's right. Vandris was the only one. Vandris and Rodek are on the water.
Yes. Yeah.
But he's hunkered.
Hunkered. Okay.
Van hunkered.
I
That's what they
guess.
call me.
What would it take to cast anything from the
Hashtag
ground?
Van Hunky.
I would just say you're at a disadvantage.
Okay. Yeah. So I will just try to cast Eldritch Blast on the one that's wrecking Annulin's face.
Okay. That is number 2. So that is the one that Matthias already slashed.
Two 18s.
2 18s for the
Okay.
first Eldritch
They
Blast.
both hit.
So I will just do that one.
Was that disadvantaged? Okay.
Yes,
Yeah, that's
that was
crazy.
2 18s. So 6.
6 points. Okay.
And then I'm gonna
It
do
blasts
the second
into its
one at
main.
it. Is that another 18? Yes,
It
it
is.
was.
Okay.
And a 16. Perfect.
They both hit. That hits.
And then 10. So
The
6 and 16 in total.
16 total. Both of your Eldritch Blast, you're needing to focus a good amount on keeping your broom steady and channeling your magical power into riding it. But you, even with that, you manage to blast both of the Eldritch Blasts into its side. It lets out a roar, and it is Annual's turn.
How far could I climb up the rock?
So you would be able to. The rocks are probably a good like 8 feet across. So I mean, it's not that high up, and you get the idea that this thing would be able to follow you.
Oh, I forgot that I have it. As a bonus action, can I cast Healing Word on Annulin?
Yes.
Okay.
Nice.
So I'm
Bless
going
you,
to
child.
cast Healing Word on Annulin.
Okay.
The DM's like, damn right you can.
Oh, yay! 8.
8.
8
Okay.
helpies she
Okay.
gets from me.
How are you gonna do that?
Huh? Just healing. Oh, Healing Word. Oh, ouchie! I'm just gonna throw health at her.
Okay. You throw. You say healing
I was
word.
hoping you'd sing to me.
Yeah.
No.
Ouchie, and her wounds
That's
heal
what
up a
I
little
It's
bit.
just word,
You
right?
feel.
So
Yeah.
ouchie.
You feel that as soon as the sound hits your ears, you feel it's like the magic of the universe heal you a little bit. With that, it's anyone's turn.
So I'm sorry, can you repeat what you said about the rocks?
So the rocks are not that large. You're able to stand on there, but this is a giant beast, kind of half out of the water, slobbering, like almost on top of you, practically.
Okay, I was picturing I was like on the face of a cliff.
No,
So I'm not. I'm like on
You're on a rock, and there's water all around
like a little mermaid rock.
you. Yeah.
Okay, that changes things.
So not everything's
I'm
not like
going-
spider glued to the cliff.
Yeah.
That would definitely make us
I'm
disadvantaged.
going to attack the one that's like slobbering on me. Whatever
Okay.
you said it's doing to me.
You're disadvantaged on this attack.
Oh,
Because it's
wait,
right next
where's
to
the
you.
one that I've already hit? He didn't die yet.
No. He is attacking Ganji.
I'm gonna attack that one.
Okay.
25 to hit.
Hits.
We don't have nearly
22
enough
damage.
energy left. These are
22
close.
damage. As it's looking to take another bite at Ganji, you send one right through its head. It lets out this bark and it slides into the water, bloody.
Yeah, girl.
But not
Okay.
that.
Beat him.
What?
And then I'm
Not
going to make
Yeah.
my second attack disadvantaged on the one that's in front
Okay.
of me. After transferring my hunter's mark.
Transfer your hunter's mark.
22.
22 that hits. Wow.
They can't miss.
Yeah, it feels good to be a ranger.
Yeah, it does.
Nice.
Damn, it feels good to be a ranger.
12 damage.
Full damage. Okay. As you you're shooting, you get the sense that this claws are trying to bash the bow out of your hand. You manage to shoot it in the chest. It lets out this roar. It is weak, but it is hanging on. Matthias,
Yes. Am I?
you're on a third rock.
I'm on the third rock. Do I see any sea lions within 30 feet that are on rock?
There are none on rock right now.
None are on rock. So I can just splishy splash in the water, or
You could probably get a sense you have to move off of your rock in order to get one.
I'm comfortable doing that. Let's take
Okay.
care of business. I run out and
You
I
run out
am
into the water.
gonna throw my sword cutlass into the
Okay.
water and hope I find purchase.
Okay.
Oh, that's bad. That's bad roll. Let's do.
Disadvantage.
Oh, because
To
we're
the
doing
water.
into the water. All right. Well, that's fine. Oh, it's the same roll.
Double 11.
Double 11 will make it 14.
Barely misses. You splash into your cutlass
You're sea
splashes.
lion.
Jesus Christ.
And the second attack we'll do at a disadvantage.
Okay.
That'll be less, so I'm fucked. That means that I will.
Wait, hang on. How much did you roll?
A 7.
14. And
I add 10 to that.
24 to hit. That does hit.
Yeah, all right. I'll do damage. I accept your damage. I thank you.
I accept.
That means that I'm gonna do boop, 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 boop. 4. Is it sneak attack?
Yes.
I don't think you get sneak attack if you're disadvantaged, right?
Nope.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
That's why I was so sad when I found out I was disadvantaged.
Oh, and no disadvantage. All right, I do 4 damage.
4 damage.
It was
Right
worth.
there with you, Matthias.
So
It was worth.
you get off your rock and hobble off with that slight limp, and you miss one, and you're waiting like a patient hunter, and you slice down, and although it does slash the top of its mane, it only nicks it, doing 4 points of damage.
Yeah, it's nothing. I might as well have sneezed on it. Jesus.
Unbelievable. Vanders.
After watching the pitiful attack of my my sensei, I decide to climb back up onto the rock that Matthias leapt off of, and jeez, I don't even know here. Hold on, let me take a look at what I've got in my magic bag of tricks.
If you've got Explode Sea Lion as a spell, I recommend you use it.
Unfortunately, I forgot to take that when I leveled up.
Shit.
When would I be back? When would I be there?
I would say roll initiative, and then you'll.
I already got a 17.
17. You'd be back for the next round, I'll say.
Yeah, I've got nothing. I'm gonna stand on the rock, and can I wait? Like,
You can ready an attack. You can ready an attack.
Or
I want to try to I want to do something creative
can
and
do
try
both.
to lure
Yeah,
one of
either
the
way.
sea lions out of the water. Can I look tasty?
You could make like a performance check on the water or something,
Yeah,
and
roll
like
a
try
tasty check.
try to bait it towards you.
Deliciousness is a stat, right?
Just
Make a
expose
performance check.
your ankle, sir.
ooh, that's tasty.
Okay.
all
As
fast.
Avantris
Yeah.
wants to do disguises and performances, I rolled a natural 1.
You splish around with your boot into the water, and you don't see any of them do anything about it.
Shucks.
Oh, shucks.
I'll still just ready my attack, I guess. Hang out.
You could also dodge if you wanted. Take the dodge action.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's fine.
I'm just gonna be on the rock, hanging out, waiting.
That was the action.
Okay, you're gonna
The
ready.
doge action.
Sounds good. And with that, it is Monster's 1 turn, and they are going to make leap out of the water again, both landing on the rocks, and that is going to be one on Ganji and one on Matthias' rock. So the
I'm not on the rock. I'm on the water.
Oh, you're on the water, so it's going to attack you in the water.
That's fine.
That is going to hit, dealing
Me?
Yep.
No.
you
I don't care for it.
18 points of piercing damage.
18.
18 points of piercing damage, and then 2 claw attacks. One's gonna miss, but the other's gonna be a natural 20. I knew I was.
It was coming. It had to happen.
coming.
That's a lot of dice.
And he's just dead like that? Ladies and gentlemen.
I already died the one time.
That's
I'm
true.
immortal.
That's
That's
true.
fine.
He's
Nothing bad can
23
happen.
points of slashing damage.
23.
He'll just go to a graveyard and get rezzed by
And
I'm fine.
make a deck saving throw. Whoops, what did I do?
Dexterity saving throw. That's where I'm a Viking. Yeah, 23. Get out of
23. You
Get
feel
out
it
of
try.
town.
It is attacking you out of the water, and it's trying to pull you down, and you manage to just barely dodge out of those efforts.
Aye.
And the final one is going to be attacking Ganji.
Oh, so the one on Annul's Rock's dead too.
Yes, they're both dead.
Oh.
So you
2 are dead, 2 are alive.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it.
No,
It was one of the
because
either, but that's all.
never mind.
Cool.
No, she killed one and then killed the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said it was barely hanging on, so that's why I
Oh,
thought it
really?
still had life.
Oh well, it's dead.
All right.
One's gonna miss on Ganji,
Bled out.
Good.
and one is going to hit, dealing 10 points of slashing damage. Okay. Ganji.
My turn. So I have another one in front of me.
Yep.
Is there any way I can get the 2 of them in a line for lightning breath? I would like to lightning breath them.
You could try. One is in the water swimming. If you wanted to try to wait for it and then make a dex just a straight dex check.
To see if I can hit both
To
of
see
them.
if you can hit both of them.
Oh, like the aim.
To aim, yeah.
It's
You're
like
right.
Guitar Hero. There are 2 gems coming
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Can I? Well, if I fail, could I at least hit the one that's in front of me?
Of course. Yeah.
I just want to make sure that like.
Yeah, no. You slip into the water and die.
17.
17. You make the attack.
All right, so they roll dex
Separate
saves.
deck saving throws.
Separate dex saves.
13 is 16.
The 13 fails, the 16 passes. So the 13 takes 14 points of lightning damage,
Oh, shit. Okay.
and the one that saves takes half.
You hunker down this massive creature in front of you. Your jaw crackles with lightning, and it zaps in. And you're patient waiting. You see that dark shape of dark green in the water, and it arcs past, zapping the sea lion in front of you for full damage. And it does manage to hit the sea lion, but not as much as that first one. Sylvie.
I'm going to. How far away? Oh yeah, I'm probably within 120 feet.
Okay.
Of them.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah. So I'm gonna attack whatever one's on his rock with
Okay.
Eldritch Blast.
You got it.
Well, it's gonna fail because I'm at disadvantage, and that was a 2. So I'll try the second one, and that was a 4. So no, I'm not gonna do anything at all.
So after getting that great last hit of Eldritch Blast, you're moving your broom to position, and then a gust of wind comes by, and you have to put your other hand back, and as your hand moves to catch it, both Eldritch Blasts crash into the cliff.
Ooh.
Anyway,
Alright. So how many are left? 1 or 2?
two.
Just
One's
two,
in the
okay.
water, one is on the rock, on Gandy's rock.
Okay. I'm going to transfer my hunter's mark again to either. I don't know.
What was your initiative?
Well, I think that you might be at disadvantage
17.
attacking the one in the water. I'm not sure about that though.
Whichever one I would not be disadvantaged on, I will transfer my hunter's mark to that.
You'll be disadvantaged on both of them.
Alrighty.
Or actually, no. For you, it would be cover. So you're not disadvantaged because it's a range attack, but they would have cover.
Even the one on the rock.
The one on the rock is. Oh, you're right. No, you're on another rock, so you would have no disadvantage at all or cover.
Okay. Making attack. That's a fail. Big old 1-0 fail.
Okay, critical fail on the first one. You slip on the rock and you just shoot it off into the sky. It's
Everybody kills another vulture.
You hit another vulture. Yeah.
21.
21. Okay, that hits.
$22 damage.
22 damage to number. Okay. As it's going to attack Ganji, you horribly missed that first one, but the second one gets it right in the back, sinking deep into its flesh. Blood is pouring out of it. It's looking pretty heavily wounded, and it won't die this time. Matthias.
Yes. I'm going to. Do I expect any attack of opportunities if I run back to the rock?
You're on the water. There's none around.
I'm gonna dash over, not literally dash.
Which
but
rocks?
I'm
So
gonna
there's 3
run.
rocks. The one that you were on, Annulins, and Ganges.
I'll run to Annulin,
Okay.
and I will. As I do, I take my pirate's hat off, my cap, and I'm just running my hands through my hair, lay on hand style, 23 hit points for myself.
You
And-
rub your hands over your hair, and you feel that strange ghostly sensation as you suck the souls of your crew members into healing your wounds.
I'm using 23 of my 25.
Okay.
Leaving me with 2 remaining, and that I don't have any bonus action fun times, so that'll be my turn.
Okay.
I'm just hanging out with Annulin. How's it going?
Anyone can't hear you.
She can't. that's
Sorry,
fine.
sorry.
I can't say it on stream. Just kidding.
It's
we
an
were
R-rated-
laughing at all his crew members.
So,
Sorry, continue.
how far am I? Or so, what's
We'll
closer to
say
me?
you'd be able to use your full movement to get to Annulins on the rock, or try to get one of the ones in the water with disadvantage.
Okay, yeah, I will, I'll run up and I'll get to the closest one.
Okay, you get to the closest one and you swing and make an attack.
I will attack twice. I'll make this a precision attack. Fuck. Okay. So one is 27.
Hits.
The other is 3, 11, 12, 13.
13 misses. 20 hit, or whatever hits.
Okay. So I will make, so that's one superior die. I will make the one that hits a menacing attack. So does it make a whiz saving throw?
Yep.
7, 13, 14, 15, 18 damage.
18 damage. Okay. 18. As you get to the one that's on Dandy's Rock, you get a free attack basically on it. It's not paying attention to you at all. You hack it in its spine, and it just collapses onto the rock and just is just slopped over there like a sleeping walrus.
How far away is the other one?
It's just in the water. You could try to use your full movement, so you would be disadvantaged probably with cover in order to actually try to hit this thing.
If I moved onto it, could I hit it?
You use your full movement.
I could use an action surge to move again if I wanted.
You could.
I'll use my bonus action to do the attack.
Okay. Disadvantaged. And then with cover.
5. I'll do a precision attack. Let's do it. I'm gonna get lucky. Nope. No. 5, 6. Nope.
5, 6, nope.
You kill it, and then it flops onto the ground near it, and just makes a little weak splash. Finally, that would be Vanders' turn.
Okay. Is there
Tips for
So I was trying to stay on the rock, and but are there any of these sea creatures within striking distance of the rock?
Of Gandy's. Wait, so where are you again? You're.
I took refuge on the rock that Matthias jumped off of.
Okay, so you would be able to get to the one on. Or no, there's one in the water.
There's one sea line
left, and it's in the water.
I just don't like it. Is anybody engaged with it?
No, it's not at the moment. It's swimming beneath you.
I'm gonna get disadvantaged, so it's like, what's even the point? I will attempt to duel it by running at it and stabbing the water ferociously.
Okay.
Vandris,
Make it
for
attack with advantage.
for science, you have to see if Green Flame Blade works underwater. For science.
Okay, and all of a sudden I hear this little voice in my head that says, light the water on fire. So I channel my inner magic, and I use my green flame blade.
Green flame
blade! So I have to actually hit, otherwise this is pointless. Oh, actually, that was really good. I got a 16 and an 18, so I take the 16 plus 9 is 25.
Roll damage.
Yes!
Oh, okay, I forgot I'm pushed to talk. I roll my damage, which is pitiful. 8 plus 6 is 14, and then the green flame blade. Hold on, I have to pull up my sheet. Because I didn't transfer that one yet. Blah, blah, blah. Must make a melee attack upon successful attack. It deals 1d8 fire damage. Well, does it work underwater? That's what we're trying to find out.
Make a, It looks like you may be able to send it with a magical green fire.
Oh, amazing. Just incredible. Okay, I roll a 1d8.
14
and
plus.
I add 3 damage to it, so that's
17.
a total of 17 damage.
Okay. Yeah.
There's
With
nothing
that,
for it to jump to, so...
you jump off your rock, or you're going to stay on your rock and you're waiting for it. And as it's swimming around looking for its next victim, you flick your rapier and it ignites with this green flame glowing through the night and shimmering off of the rough water. And you stab in, and it you actually find that you've made purchase onto this body. And the green fire erupts, I know. A green fire erupts and singes inside and outside this body. It still is a little bit of light underwater as well. Nothing personnel, kid.
Avantris in a word.
Monsters
I'm
won.
not that edgy.
No, you're right. Yeah.
Right as he's attacked, this sea lion swims down and then leaps back up onto Vander's rock. And is going to make
Under his
Come
what?
on, man.
onto his
Rock?
rock.
Got it.
His bite is going to miss. He lands on the rock and he's going to swipe twice with his claws. And one is going to miss, but the other one is going to hit, dealing.
I'll uncanny dodge.
You dodge uncannily, taking half of 9 points of damage.
Alrighty.
Nothing personnel.
That fish was really startled by being set on fire while underwater. It
Yeah,
really
well, you would
didn't
be
know
too.
what was going on.
Okay. It is Ganji's turn.
I am. How injured is the one on Vandris's rock? Just
It's the last one.
Doesn't looks like it might almost be dripping blood.
Okay.
Almost.
That was honestly more just out of curiosity because I'm gonna sacred flame it.
Okay.
Which it makes a deck save.
Okay. $18.
That saves. Nothing happens.
Okay.
Heck.
Your the darkness and the roughness of the water and all the commotion. Your game is off a little bit, and the platinum pillar of fire barely misses this creature. And Sylvie's turn.
Yeah, I'll just do the huge.
Do the huge with Eldritch Blurs.
Well, that's a natural one for the first
Your
one.
disadvantage, remember.
I know. No.
It
Nothing.
might hit. Plus 8? 13?
No.
13 barely misses. Is both Eldritch Blasts.
Yeah.
You're trying hard. The wind is picking up very heavily, and you're trying to keep the broom steady and not
That's all
fall
right.
off.
Anyone's got this.
Anyone.
Alrighty. If this is not the same one that I was fighting before, which I don't think it was, I'll
It's not.
transfer
It's
my
on- it's
card
on
and
Andy's
make
rock
2
still.
attacks.
Sylvie rolled Avantris.
I hate when I roll Avantris.
Natural one.
Am I disadvantaged on this one?
No.
Okay. Then my 2 attacks were a 20 and a 26.
They both hit.
Oh, poor Andy.
Don't worry, one of these days I'm gonna get lucky.
First damage is 18. Second is 14.
How do you want to do this?
There it is.
Finally.
Did she like kill all of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got one.
Oh, Runa got one.
Of
She
course.
killed the other 3.
Thanks for helping, Rodek.
Hey,
The
I got one.
DM's shittiness at running combat actually killed one, so I have one. I have one, Andor has 2,
DM
and
kills
Runa has
deals.
1.
So you level up now. You're level
Yeah,
2. You're
I'm
level
level
2
2.
DM. Yeah.
That's probably so much experience you could probably jump right to level 5.
Yeah, no, I'm gained my first kill. I think I accidentally killed some other mobs too. It's fine. How do you do this, anyone?
I don't know.
The pressure.
I want to like harpoon it. How big is this thing? Can I lift it?
It's very large. You have to be like crazy strong to lift this thing.
Fine. I was gonna say that I wanted to like harpoon it with my arrow and then like lift it up like a fish trophy and take a picture in my mind.
I can lift it up
You
for
can
you.
imagine that. Yeah, you can ask.
Yeah, Rhoda can lift it for me.
Yeah, I'll lift it up for you.
Okay, so just because you got the killing blow, you shoot one and you haven't expended your movement yet. So you run up and you see that it's horribly wounded by that very well placed arrow, almost pierces its heart. You sprint over across the water, and your boots splashing up seawater. You leap into the air and just with 2 hands harpoon it, finishing it off in the back of the neck. It slumps down, and with your little arrow, you like nod to Rodek and
I'm like,
make
but no,
an
no.
athletics check.
Don't fuck us up, dwarf.
26.
26. You channel all of your strength.
I threw it 100 feet into the air.
No, you don't do that. It is a heavy thing. You are able to get it up to simulate you having a fish trophy.
I quickly sketch a picture like a Polaroid.
Okay.
And then we all run.
Now shake it.
Yeah.
Yep. There you go. There you go. You got it,
He
guys.
sprays us with platinum light, and we're like,
Oh, and so two dead, bleeding critters are on the rocks next to you, and
Well, that was Gracie.
so
You want to do something?
Two
really
things. How much longer do we have on this water walking action? And two, why the fuck did you run away?
As you can see, I'm not wearing any armor, first of all, so I would probably have died had I been there. Second of all, I don't...
Why do you keep taking your armor off?
Do you see where we are? And I step out onto the water and I look down.
I jump out in the water, dive down, and let the spell carry me back up at a rate of 60 feet per second, which is
Oh
what
wow,
it does.
that's really cool.
And so are you telling me that this can last forever and I never have to worry about sinking in the water? Is that what you're
It
telling me?
lasts at least 40 minutes more, which I'm guessing.
I suggest we have this conversation at the very least while we continue to move towards our objective.
Walk and talk, people. Walk and talk. Aye.
Yeah, okay, let's keep going.
We're gonna start making our way towards the entrance of the cove. How far away would you say we are from the entrance of the cove?
You'd say about like a 20-minute walk.
20 minutes.
Rodek, you were heating the big beast, right? Real quick.
Yeah.
Make a perception check real quick for me.
That's not
A natural one. No, I'm just-
There is not a donkey.
11.
11. As you're heating it up, you do notice that there does seem to be a branding symbol on the back of the neck of this creature.
What does it look like?
Make an investigation check.
Hey, that worked. 17.
You take a look at it,
A gander.
take a gander at it, and you see a double crested wave.
Alright, well, I'd like to point this out and I flop it over. And then I just point at the brand. Does this look familiar to anybody?
Does it?
It's the
It's
double
the
crested wave
Umberlee.
symbol of Umberlee.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. You guys have had...
I don't be recognizing the symbol. No.
I guess I don't know if you would know. So anyway, this is the symbol of Umberlee, the goddess that Diadra or Adelaide Blue worships.
We're probably on the right track. But they probably also know we're coming.
So they're pets of Diadra. They obviously know we're here. So is our plan just to walk right into the cave and kill them?
Well, I mean, whatever our plan is, you're just going to tell us it's a bad idea. So why don't you just start off with this is a
No,
bad
they're not
idea,
good ideas.
and then we'll start talking
No, I
about
think that's
things.
fine at this point. We don't really have much choice left.
Sylvie, that's the most pertinent thing you've ever said.
And so,
Alright.
just FYI, you guys have about 20 minutes to talk, and then it's about a 20-minute walk you could probably gauge to get, barring no disasters happening.
I'm going to put my armor on.
Is the water moving fast under our feet? I mean, even though the train is, whatever.
You guys are
water
basically,
shape
you're
is.
able to get up on rocks and, have a chat.
I'll put my
So it's
armor
moving
on.
quickly.
No, I just mean like if
While
I
we
wanted to
have this
pull the
chat.
boat out and enjoy the entrance.
I mean,
to the cave.
while we have
We
this
can
chat, I
cast-
can
yeah.
recast it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I know you can, but if I wanted to sail,
Oh, no, you can. No,
The
I just
current
meant...
is still incredibly
I'm
strong.
sure it's crazy.
I
It's
was
crazy
I was more telling the DM.
Yeah.
Not you're totally
So
good.
Genji, if you can guarantee me at least an hour more of this, I'll put my armor on.
I'm chanting, but I'm like,
Are you going to untie your arms now, too?
Everybody gets one. Sweet.
I'm not
I
worried.
behead Sylvie in the middle of the night. Also, I'm an evil character.
That was very bracing. I suggest we make our way into the cove. Any objections to continuing on?
I don't see swaying Matthias in his journey here, and you know our goals are the same. I don't really see the benefits of waiting, so I say we press on.
Aye.
Before we go, can we were the beasts just straight up beasts or were they magical?
Why don't you make a nature check over its corpse? 2 nature checks in one session. Holy shit!
Whoa.
That's because you're a level 2 DM.
I know.
Yeah.
I got that.
I got a 10.
You wouldn't be able to tell if there's any kind of magic. You know that it would probably be a monster of some kind. It's not like a typical beast, but what kind of magic there'd be on that, you're not sure.
Does it have cool scales?
It's got leathery, semi-scaly stuff. I mean, yeah, it's a little shimmering, dark green coloration to it.
Can I scrape a couple of those off with my knife and then go?
Make a survival check. The game is taking 10 minutes to prepare in the water.
It takes me 5 minutes to put on.
21.
21. You get a good sack full, a little sack full of sea lion scales. So write that down.
One
That'll be
sack.
worth something.
Cool.
I'm gonna carve out the symbol
Okay.
off of the back
You make a
of
survival
the
check.
sea lion. Survival?
Survival.
That'll be a 12.
A 12. You manage to scrape off the side of it, but you manage to rip off a piece of skin that has the
It
symbol.
sounds
on it.
exactly like what I would do.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Yeah.
fine.
Are we all ready to be moving on then? I'm hurting a little bit, but I'd be willing to continue on.
A wise man once said to me, "Aye."
Aye. And who was that wise man?
I think you know him. Let's continue.
Do we? How much longer would it be to take a short rest?
Probably. It's an hour, right? So if you guys want to sit on the rock and just wait for an hour,
Well, we've already been here for 10 minutes.
you guys have already been there for probably 10, 15 minutes at this point.
Let's get inside. I'm sure that there will be a place where the water stills,
Yeah,
and we
where
can
the
find our
villains are.
footing.
I love resting with villains.
I mean, at the very least, we'll be less exposed.
We are kind of in the open here.
And we have no idea what's in the cave yet, do we? Can we see anything in the cave beyond?
The cave is far away. It's kind of on the edge of this cliff face, and so it's facing out towards the west area a little bit, southwest. So you're.
I think at this point we're screwed either way. So why don't we go ahead and rest up a little bit more? And we have no idea what we're coming up against. And given the fact that they've already sent 4 of these creatures after us, they could send another 4 and another 4 for all we know.
I do not believe the creatures were sent by anyone who was aware of our presence. We were able to steal our way into the island pretty cleanly.
I'll take your word for it.
Aye, you should. Let's continue on.
All right. That's fine.
So you're not short resting.
We're not short resting, and we're going to wait until we get into a stiller water type operation, or perhaps in whatever the interior of the cove, if there's a good resting spot, maybe we'll take that rest there. But
Okay.
I'm
we
leading
can
the charge
walk up
here.
to the edge of the cliff next to the cove, right? In order to have to just walk straight to the cove.
Correct.
Do you have your boat on you? Your whaleboat?
Aye.
Okay.
So, are you guys gonna stealth?
Yes,
Right?
we are. Absolutely,
Yeah.
we are.
Yeah.
Natural 20 Pickle Rick!
You go to the
so
beginning
it's
of time.
23.
12.
I got a 31.
23, 31.
That's what I get for not
17.
leveling up in Rogue.
19.
12 for me.
13.
12 and 13.
I'm a pirate.
Aye.
Aye.
Say
only,
true.
But only sometimes.
May it do you fine.
So, with that, you make your way, and so I also like a marching order as well here.
Me and Vandris.
I'll take the back.
Same as usual.
I'll be in the middle.
All right, Vandris and I in the front, and
Yeah,
whoever in the
Vanjie.
middle, and the morass of Rodek in the back.
Okay.
Ganji the Manji.
Ganji the Manji, they call him.
That's what they call him.
And so,
That's his
with
damn name.
that,
That's my name on the street.
It's Fusion Funk. It's really, it's out there.
Fusion funk.
sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I have all the shit. Ah, here we go.
I really like blending my funk with Asian cuisine.
is it?
Very interesting performance.
I call this song a spring roll.
Asian funk fusion.
Okay. Let me just make sure
What
I'm
did
not
you
losing
say?
anything. Let me make sure I'm not
Something
losing
about spring
anything.
roll.
I call this song spring roll.
Okay.
I just rolled 3 10s in a row. That's wild.
That's weird.
So-
Weird.
Not even his dice. Those are
No.
good dice, right?
You are
these are
stealthing
good
your
dice.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The current, how rough it is slowing your movement to about half of your walking speed. You're
Sure.
at about 15 or whatever it would be. Sylvia, I guess, is still on the broom, so she has the ability to go as quickly as she like.
Yeah, I'm just staying with Ganji though.
You're staying with Ganji.
Do you
You're-
care to scout ahead?
No.
Okay.
And you make your way closer and closer and closer. As you approach, the smell of the vague, musty smell of swampish smell that you were getting from the island as you were approaching, you can still kind of whiff of it, but as you get closer and closer to the cave, it grows more and more and more putrid. It smells like decay and rot.
And we recognize that from when we were on the ship.
Yeah, so it smells like the swamp smell, but turned up and added to just like a whole nother layer.
Does it smell like the what would this smell like anything that I was familiar with from swamps I've been in my life?
Make an intelligence check.
Natural 20 pickle ring!
It's 2 in a row.
Apparently, the trick is to roll it
Wow.
onto the mouse pad so it rolls
22.
1 in 400.
22. You get the sense that there is the heavy swamp boggy stench, and it smells vaguely familiar to what it is. Nothing magical, nothing like from the Feywild or the Merkendraw or the like. But you do, with that, you do smell that this does smell like there is the stench of death. It's the stench of death and decay.
Guys, it smells like Dracula's are afoot.
What be a Dracula?
It just means dead things.
Matthias, we've been over this several times. I would let it be.
Yeah, but it smells like a swamp.
It smells like death, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Right.
Aye,
We can all smell it.
I be picking that up. Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Is it like so powerful that it would be like overbearing, or like okay, so we can like muscle through? Okay.
Yeah.
I take out
It
the.
smells gross, but
I'll take the kerchief out that I would typically wear on my head, and I'll wrap it around just to stymie a little. You know?
Just a wee
Just
stymie.
stymie.
I had a
little-
friend named Stymie once.
Aye, and you say had. What happened to him?
I stopped being his friend. He was a shit.
Aye.
Okay. So as you continue, the stench hits your nostrils, and you start to get a better look at this this entrance of this cave. It is in the shape of an open mouth, and there does seem to be rocks coming up from the sea in the formation of teeth, attached to some kind of stony platform going into this cave. You get the idea that it's water is lapping and kind of resting in the bottom, that maybe during high tide that the bottom of the mouth fills. And coming down from the ceiling is a similar row of teeth carved into this enormous reptilian head with these 2 horns coming out from around the head, curving down, ridged. Its eyes, no eyeballs are carved, but they're sunken in. And its nostrils are sunken in deep, as if you're looking at a skull of some kind. But not as nearly as empty and shallow as a skull.
Well, that's really weird. The fact that cave is shaped like a jaguar.
And what be a jaguar?
It's a cat. A big one.
I suppose that I could see that.
Made out of stone.
With the exception of the horns.
Yeah, it's just a classic jaguar feature.
Is the jaguar normally featuring the horns?
Yeah.
Aye.
The
Pretty
famous
sure.
horn jaguar. So it has horns going this way?
Coming out from around the back of his head,
That part of
coming
the
down
What?
around his face, pointed.
And the scale is the cove itself.
The mouth is this cave itself. Yeah,
Okay.
there's a
this
cave
isn't-
mouth.
Okay.
There's a cave mouth, and it looks like basically the open maw of a reptilian, draconic-looking creature.
And does it look like the water entering the mouth is at its fiercest current, or is it slowing?
It seems to be about at lower tide. Water is lapping in and pooling at the bottom here, but it's not like it's flooded.
I propose we make our way into the mouth there, the entrance.
Yeah, can we rest in the mouth?
Is there
That'd be my proposal. Yes.
Yeah, because I would like.
I would like you to
rest.
make a perception check for asking that question.
What did you ask?
Is there anyone visible?
We walk into Crocodile Fire as you bump into them.
Hey!
Oh, that's not gonna be great. That's. I think I have a 4 now.
And who is in the lead as well?
I'm in the lead with Vandris.
Anderson and Matthias, I both want you to make perception checks as well.
That was a 9.
I'm going to use my spyglass.
Okay. Make it with advantage.
I will happily do that. That is going to be
I got a 17.
a 13, 13, 15 is what I rolled 2 13s. This is the night of double rolls tonight.
Banners?
17.
17. You get close and you're able to make out the shape of this. This stench hits your nostrils. You would probably stop your party as you notice that perched on the top of this cliff seem to be at least 3 giant vultures with humanoid shapes mounted on top of each of them. You see movement up from beyond the cliffs, maybe just the tops of heads walking around back and forth. As you peer into the cave, you also seem to see movement walking around inside. You see what seem like shadows or silhouettes of human shapes, but that's just with your spyglass and everything else. It's not angled enough for you to be able to see quite as well, but you are able to see that there is a light glow of a fire, of a campfire of some kind, coming from the deep into the mouth of this cave.
We should have rested on the rocks.
I spy with me spyglass eye. A few of these vultures, and also some humans apparently inside the cove, inhabiting the cove.
Are there any like rocks nearby that we could hide behind? Or are we like exposed, or what? How are we?
I would say if you guys are stealthing, you're covering,
Yeah, we're going to try to hug the wall. Yeah.
hugging the cliff and like dodging behind rocks. I'd say that you guys could reasonably be doing that. This is littered. You see the occasional bits and pieces of ship as you had seen. The main area where you fought those sea lions was kind of more that was more of the ship graveyard.
Mhm.
But you get the sense that is probably regularly picked clean for parts to build. So that it wasn't like there were tons of ships all over the place.
The key question I want to answer in this, as I perceive moving forward, is: does there look like there's a hidden away spot where we can comfortably be on land and take a 30-60 minute stop, or
you could find a few rocks close to the cliffs where you could hopefully try to stay stealthed and hidden from view and take a short rest.
I think these rocks over here might be the answer to your question. Do you want to join me over here for the purposes of taking a moment's breath?
Are you gonna pay me another 300 gold?
No,
You paid her 300?
What?
I don't want to know what that is.
This is
But
neither the time nor the place.
let's take a short rest though. That sounds like a good idea.
I don't like it, but I'll concur.
We can talk about this later.
All right.
let's make our way to the cliffside.
and I'll lead the way to the edge of the cliff.
Okay.
Wherever that
are
spot that I
waltz.
think is going to be most
Okay.
ample for
You
us.
waltz and you can keep your stealth rolls because you're staying super stealthy. You manage to find and take an hour if you prefer. Take an hour. You in this hour there does seem to be some movement back and forth as the vultures are staying perched. They look a little bit agitated. And but there really doesn't seem to be any crazy excitement happening.
So
Alright, so I'm gonna use some hit dice to top off that for taking a short rest.
So while we're doing this, very like quietly, I'm going to Sylvia's going to sing. I like big boats and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny. When a pirate walks in, he looks like Santa. And I'm really bad at this because I'm just learning. Lumi, what were the words? Whatever. And you guys all get an additional D6 if you use hit die.
Oh shit! Fantastic. That's fantastic.
It's called Song of Rest.
All right.
Oh, shit.
Wait, say that again. What does it do?
It's called. You get if you use hit die, you get an additional 1d6.
I rolled a
because
one.
I
Shit.
sang a little jig during our
you
rest.
get a level 1?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Well, Sylvie, that wasn't the best song I've ever heard, but I appreciate the effort. We could really sense your vigor.
I'm learning slowly.
What's
I do like big boats though.
you go?
I'm not a fan. So before we leave, do we want to become extra stealthy via magical means from our resident ranger?
That doesn't sound
Yes.
like a bad idea.
Could we do
shall pass without a
pass
trace.
without a trace?
Okay.
How does that sound? Last time we used pass without a trace in a sea cave, it worked very well.
Until
a
it
great
didn't
time.
because of other reasons.
I'm not familiar with this trace passing. How does it work?
It just basically she waves her hands around and we become very, very stealthy, even more so than we are currently.
Like my ship during
I
the day.
use my
Exactly.
mystical magic to hide us among the natural landscape.
Well, I'm all in favor of any way we can approach with caution. I'd not be alerting these crew to our presence until we decide to alert them to our presence.
Yeah.
It feels like I
Yeah.
as in
Yeah.
your blood.
Oh well, you don't want to say that. That's a Dracula thing, and it comes off weird. So you don't want to say that about the blood.
Sometimes you just have to pretend you're Dracula to really get yourself excited.
Okay.
See, perfect.
Yeah, I feel better now.
Are Dracula kitties like a cat, a feline?
Oh, like that skull thing, like the leopard.
Aye, like the leopard.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Jaguar.
The leopard now.
I guess
sure it's the same creature.
if we've completed our short rest, then I guess we'll. I'm gonna try to perceive the way that I think will be most advantageous to getting us closest to the enemy without alerting them to our presence.
Okay. You
Dracula kitty.
you lead the party past the cliff, past many of the rocks, getting closer and closer. The stench of death and decay is getting stronger and stronger. And you make your way as close as you possibly can, and you see that there. Oh, you use pass without trace already? Or not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did everyone reroll self? What do you guys?
Oh, with real
I'll give it a
stealth.
reroll
No, we
stealth.
gotta
We're gonna
reroll
reroll
this.
stealth.
Was
So
it
you
a
get a
plus
plus
10?
10 bonus to
Yeah,
dex.
you gotta reroll
I'll
stealth.
join you.
I can get a 41.
You can, or you got a 41.
I can.
Okay.
I only rolled a 36.
Oh,
So sorry.
I got a 14.
31, my friend.
31.
Oh, we're adding 10.
31 as well.
19.
14.
I rolled terribly and I got a 20.
Banners?
I got a 36.
Oh my god, okay.
You still into reality.
You become the cave.
I
Okay.
am cave.
Annulin channels the power of nature, and a shroud of darkness comes over all of you. And you feel very stealthy, some of you more so than others.
Oh boy.
Some of us still have disadvantage. from
I'm
the
making a nice big square around the 14. And you make your way towards the mouth of this cavern. There is that dim fire glow, and you are hearing splashing coming from inside as you make your way to the mouth, the cave of the mouth, and you are approaching. And so let me just paint the scene here.
Sure.
That as you are, okay, let's do this way. The cave mouth is coming out that way. You're
Let me hold it up to
Yeah.
the camera just so we can see it a little better.
You're a little better. You're right about there, and there are 3 vultures that you can see perched. And you don't get the sense necessarily that they're looking for anything, but they are facing towards the sea, and their heads are kind of looking down and they're looking all around, just as a heads up. And actually, I need to see what they're something.
And you said they had like riders on them?
They had you could see humanoid figures walking up around the cliff there.
Can we hear voices? Is anyone speaking that we can hear?
Make a perception check.
18.
18. You hear the sound of voices, and it is in common, and you hear that there is gruff talking coming from up on the cliffs above, but you also hear it echoing considerably from the mouth of the draconic-looking cave.
Can we make out anything that they're saying or no?
You are far enough away that you can't make it out, but you can hear human voices, male mixed with female. Humanoid voices.
And a sense of how many voices do we hear?
With that perception roll, you could get the sense that there are only a small handful coming from above the cliff. And as you're listening, you also notice a timbre in one of the voices that's a little bit more guttural and grating with an accent that sounds more familiar to of the lizard folk that you heard as well, coming from up on the cliff. From the cave of the mouth, mouth of the cave. It's a great name. And from the mouth of the cave,
I liked Cave in the Mouth.
the cave of the mouth. That's my new band name. From the mouth of the cave, you hear none of those voices.
Do we think that they're going to perceive us if we continue forward?
You have no way of knowing that.
So no one's standing at the mouth of the cave.
The
Cave of the mouth.
Not directly out, no.
So we could theoretically pass along the cliff wall into the mouth, passing under the vultures.
You could try that, yes.
Does Rodak articulate that thought?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
My only concern is that if any of them should alarm the others and that news be spread across the island of our presence, then our opportunity of surprise is lost.
I would definitely agree, and I think my preference would be we would still be on the boat or somewhere else. But I think that at this point, we either go back or we try to steal our way in.
Is there any way we could be making a distraction for the vultures to get them to hone in on something and then allow us to slip through into the cave of the mouth?
Yeah.
That's the new meme, guys. Regular Knowles. Regular Knowles.
I'm gonna get it tattooed across my chest. What is
Regular Knowles or Cave of the Mouth?
Cave of the Mouth? What would
That'll go well with my Salmon Cave tattoo.
I don't have any fancy banger type action when it comes to magic. Is there anybody else who has something that we can use for this purpose?
Yes.
No, but hold on. So the whole point is us not being discovered. So would this diversion alert them to our presence?
No.
Well, they're still vultures. Maybe a nice, flashing, juicy fish jumping out the water.
There are people on the vultures, though, right? It's not just vultures.
You see humanoid figures with the tops of their heads, or you had seen them walking around, and you couldn't see if there were any on actually mounted.
But as far as we could tell, it didn't look like the humans were keeping an eye out. From your description, it sounded like it was only the vultures
are just
actively
perched, just
looking.
facing towards the sea. Yeah.
Could Sylvie, could you emulate the sirens call that we heard and draw them out of the cave?
Well, I mean, I could make the noises, but it's not going to have the same magical effect that the sirens have because I'm not one of them.
I also think that any creatures that are aware of the siren's call would steer very clear of it. So it may not lure them out as much as drive them farther into the cave.
I do have me boat. I do have me folding boat. Would it make sense for us to send the boat in first and allow them to investigate it while we make our way to the other side and perhaps get in more advantageous position? I don't fancy losing the boat, I'll mind ye, but...
Well, that also might make them more suspicious of something going on,
Right.
even if they don't see us.
Aye.
So a more natural distraction might be a better one if we can manage some kind of something.
We have to think like the vulture. What would it normally fly out for? Just enemies? Why is it perched here?
The fish is my best guess.
An excellent vulture mating call.
You mentioned
There
it.
you
You
go.
mentioned it before.
Just
Not a bad
You
idea.
stay here and make the mating
Now
call,
we're
and
thinking.
we'll continue on.
If we're a democratic group, I vote for mating call.
Originating from where?
Well, I can use my illusion-y thing to just boom her voice away. So she can do the kind of like what I did with Avantris, where I was nestled in the crook of his back under all of his cloaks, and I was just there listening to the sound of his heartbeat with his warm skin pressed. I'm sorry. And so that time though that I did the thing and I mirrored what he was saying but loud, then that thing I could do that again, but Annulin could make the mating call and I could just boom it away.
Looking up at the top of the cove, do you think that you could accomplish that as if the mating call were coming up and around?
Well, let me check into my mind really quickly. And
I'd
see.
be thinking into your brains, yes.
Yeah, I believe. So how far away would you say that would be, distance-wise?
The very tip of the cove.
Would you need line of sight or no?
It just says that the range area is 120 feet.
Okay, yeah, you'd be able to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That seems like the thing. Annulin, can you make this call so that she knows what to reproduce at the top of the cove?
I can even create the image of a very seductive vultress.
Aye, yes, aye.
So
This plan is getting better and better.
why? Well, so the whole point is so that we don't get detected.
Yeah.
We focused a lot about distracting the vultures. Now, what do we do about everybody else up there?
Well, the vultures.
Hope they don't see us.
Look.
If they're not looking
What
for
are
us.
two measly humanoids gonna do against a stiff giant vulture when it's heading towards its seductive vultress?
That's true.
Answer
Alright.
me this.
You know, that's fine.
Did you say stiff?
Do birds get stiff?
I don't know.
Again, neither the
that's
time
not a
nor the
corkscrew
place. Let's
penis.
put the plan into action.
Aye, let's please. Will you be so kind as to share your sounds with Sylvie here?
Be sure to project.
Yeah, So
course,
I'm
of course.
gonna hold you gently but tightly at the same time, and then in my little tiny ear, you're going to, in a little tiny voice, make the weird vulture moans. Okay?
We tight and loose at the same
Be
time.
tight and
It's
loose
been a
at the
while.
same time.
Okay. If I remember right, it's.
That's
Something
good.
like that.
Aye, that sounds like the thing. Aye.
I start praying the Lord. Can someone anoint me with
I
oil?
know it. I don't know what kind of childhood you have, but I do not envy you.
Make an animal handling check with advantage, please.
Aye.
Cheers. I'll drink to that one.
Cheers.
No, this is exactly what I envisioned the session to be, guys. This is it.
When we started, we set a tone.
So what do you get, animal handling with advantage?
And
What's your cave of the mouth?
I'll do sign effects.
oh yeah, sorry.
Oh.
I got a 16.
16.
After all that.
It was an A in my mind. It was a 20 in my mind.
So, and where are you placing it, Sylvie?
So basically exactly where he described, because I
So, like, out
apparently
behind-
just
behind-
Oh, the
don't
objective
understand.
is, let's say that this is the mouth of the cave that I'm envisioning in my brain, and we're tiny little ants at the
Yeah.
bottom here. At 120 feet up or so, there's this, vulture,
Not that high,
however much.
Yeah.
There's vultures looking out. I want, like, up and out, very specifically, to try and get them up and around, to be like, oh, there's fucking, on the other side of the island. As much, she's throwing her voice, effectively.
Okay. All of a sudden, you hear 3 squawks in unison, and you are able to see that the vultures who had been perched and staring gloomily off into the sea immediately turn around back towards the cliff, and you hear, you hear the distressed yelling of what sound like the crooks going, and then you hear angry human voices, or what you could tell humanoid voices, as the vultures start flapping their wings, and the humanoids start chasing them off from behind the cliff.
Holy shit! Go!
Aye, we be making our way. We be making our way. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Move quickly.
So we hustle whilst stealth magically.
Yeah, we
Throughout
hustle
the cave.
on our tippy toes.
We're doing Scooby-Doo
You hustle
style.
on your tippy toes.
Fred Flintstone tippy toes.
Yeah, we slide down a brontosaurus tail.
Yeah.
I give you a
And-
mage hand high five as I'm scuttling away.
I think I said made
And as you get closer, you hear a loud, and just as you're right outside of the mouth, you hear a loud like, and then you hear a loud splash, and then quiet, and then you hear a human voice coming from a human male voice coming from inside, and says, "Well, that was the last of them. I believe our next shipment should be arriving shortly."
Is that a voice that I recognize?
No.
Damn.
He had a chubby for all of like 15
So, hold up. So we are at we're at the mouth now?
So let me paint the picture here. Can I have like a piece of fucking paper? This is just really difficult.
I mean, you can have the back of my character.
No.
Oh yeah. No, here we go. So.
Well, that would be dry erase.
Well,
I mean, this is fine.
he's never gonna need this again. So, and we'll show this on stream.
Wow.
No, he's gonna bring his own. This isn't his. So like
that's
I got my
cave,
character sheet, everybody.
cave, and so like this is like kind of coming up here.
We can't see it.
I know.
Okay.
So like this is this. I'm really a great artist. So you guys are like here.
It's the return of the digs.
Skip at the dig.
Oh my god.
The vulture boner. There it is.
Yeah.
Stop, you're making it worse.
So you guys are here.
All the left.
Right at the
And
end.
this
Red
is-
Rocket, Red Rocket.
Oh God!
Here we go. The horns are coming down here. There we go. There we go. I'm
Those
gonna-
are the horns of the jaguar.
It's
Okay.
very, very horny.
Okay, there you
That's a
there,
uterus.
there you go. Okay, there you go. Fine, fuck yourselves. That's the fucking black dragon skull
So
here.
ignore this.
Ignore this. And so you guys are basically, and so the mouth opens like right about here. You're underneath this large horn, and you can hear it happening, but you're not able to see, and there is a little bit of a lip here where if you peeked around inside, you may be able to see further in. There, however, is the bottom jaw of this statue thing with all of these rocks, and you can see that there are manacles fastened to each one of them, and they seem to be empty manacles, heavily, sturdily fastened to each of the rocks. But the clasps on the manacles are broken.
Wow. Your drawing skills are just.
I'm just good.
That's
It's like good.
that's
It's
a-
like that is the bone broth right there.
that is
the
level 2
artistic.
DM art.
That is the artistic.
I will draw that so hard.
I was.
You may not like it, but this is what peak DMing looks like.
You guys never actually looked at what Forgus gave you.
Yeah, it
I
is.
know, I was actually
We're
waiting. I was hoping
week
you
at
wouldn't say
sea.
anything, and I was going to surprise you by saying, let's check the box, but I hadn't done it yet.
A
Oh,
week,
he gave
a
us
week
the
at
box?
sea. Yeah, he gave us.
He gave us like a
vials and
box of
shit.
stuff.
I thought it was
I
just
put
like
it
the
in-
vials of his weird pepper juice.
Well, it's a bunch of jars of crap, but we don't know what they are because we never identified them.
Oh, I thought we did. I thought it was like
Nope.
super.
No, I'm aware.
Are
I
they
got it
still?
up here.
Did anyone think to take them from the ship?
No.
No, it was a big heavy box.
Well, fuck. I wanted to drink some pepper juice.
It'll be there when we get back.
Yeah.
That's
It's
that's
fine.
why
I
we
got
left
it.
your
Don't
crew
worry.
on the ship to
I have it
guard.
written down.
Aye,
Your
aye.
crew on the
It's
ship is
defended
guarding
by
the box.
34 of the best crewmen that ever. Okay, all right.
So, hearing the voice, I kind of tap Vandris and I point around the lip, assuming you're the stealthiest.
Probably a fair assumption.
We make a mental connection,
Yeah.
and I look longingly into Rodek's eyes, and I give him a look that says, this again? And I wistfully turn away and creep into the mouth of the caves.
I give you a little
Straight
wink.
Have we had a short? We did have a
You
short.
did have a short
rest.
rest.
Oh.
You got
let
your
me-
spell
tough
yeah.
on
Oh
both
my
stuff.
God.
You're free to polymorph me again to waste more
So-
spells, but
Can I have my character sheet back?
Yes, you can actually. Sorry.
I can't. I
Outstanding.
can only polymorph once a day.
Well, don't let him control the
Uh,
chimera.
Okay.
It's
sorry, I
because
forgot to-
I don't get to take it because of a actual spell learn.
I meant to.
It's an Eldritch invocation that allows me to have it.
Oh, cool.
So I only get it once a day.
That's pretty cool, though.
I'm getting seasick over here, guys.
Okay. So, you see here, this is the bottom jaw of this creature. These are the teeth that are coming up as if there was a bottom jaw. There's a little bit more. This is not entirely to scale.
So where am I?
So, you guys are walking on water right around here.
Well, Rodek wanted me to walk ahead and kind of peek in and
Okay.
get around the
So,
corner.
why don't we put Vantage right here at the lip so we can peek in? Okay. You peek in, you're still walking on water, and you see a number of familiar figures. They are mostly humanoid. There are a few water genasi. There's a few elves among them. They have blue tattoos all over their bodies. Not very finely dressed, but they have swords that look like they're sharp teeth fastened to them. Their shields look like great crustacean carapaces. These are the children of the sea. At the center of this room, as you can see right there, is a large pool of water that is still shaking and splashing violently as if something had just been dropped into it. It's about, I guess, like 10 feet across, 10 feet by 10 feet. And you see that they seem to be standing all around this. And at the back of, or I guess at the front of this, you see a tall, slender man. He seems to be human from what you can tell, but his skin is so heavily tattooed that he almost looks like he is fully blue. And you see strange tendrils coming down from his face. Just from his chin, from what you can see, completely shaved or bald head, and wearing long turquoise robes, similar to the style that Deidre wore when you first encountered her.
Are we still getting this putrid smell?
The stench is vile.
It's intense.
It's really intense. You get the sense that if it knocked up a few more notches, it would probably get bad, to the point where it would almost be unbearable. And you see that at the far end is a pool of water towards the back of this cave. Basically, you see that the cave goes further in, but there is a pool of water, basically, that you need to cross in order to get further in.
You mentioned that I recognize some of these characters. Do you mean just in the fact that they are children of the sea, or is there particular people that we identify have seen before?
You, rather than people that you've seen before, why don't you make just a general perception check? How about that?
I would love to. Oh, baby.
Pickle Rick?
That was a good one. Hold on. 20.
What was that?
21.
21, okay. 21, you look through the crowd, and do you remember that you see a shorter figure among them? And it is that, was he a gnome or a halfling?
He's a halfling.
A halfling gentleman who had been kidnapped and bound.
Yeah, that lying bastard.
But now he stands wearing a hood over his head. He does not seem to have any tattoos. On him. But he seems to be wearing similar robes to the gentleman who does not have a hood and has the tendrils coming down from his face.
Okay, so then I will turn around back towards the rest of the group and describe what I'm seeing.
Does any of this sound familiar to you, based on your experience with, what did you call her again, Deidre?
Yes, this is basically exactly the scene we walked in on last time.
Yep, it's not that guy.
And what did you do last time? Were you successful in your effort?
I stabbed the hell out of her and she got away.
Did it sound like they threw a guy in? Someone's drowning in the water, right?
Well, if you remember, when we went to visit the church and I dove into the well that was very similar, it was nothing but bodies chained to the bottom.
Right. My point is that if we save him, if we can kill them and save him, we may get valuable information from that person.
He's actively drowning as we speak.
Well, we can hurry. Let's go, Ganji. Do your plan. Remember the plan from last time? Let's do that.
Okay. Well, hold on.
Silence.
Ganji.
Can you cast silence on the? Or do you have prepared?
I don't know.
Oh
Ganji.
shit! Never mind.
I like the way you worship your deity, Bahamut. I like the way you worship your deity, Bahamut. And I give you inspiration.
You're getting much better at that, Sylvia. I appreciate that.
I'm so happy.
Oh, jeez. What do I have?
Now we got a
Mind-blowing.
bard. This is one of those
Mind-blowing.
campaigns now.
Mind blowing.
Is this how this goes?
Multi-classing, ladies and gentlemen.
What the fuck? I don't even know how to do this.
Are we going in? Like, what are we
I
doing?
have to be going in. I can't let another person drown like I did. It's an unpleasant experience, to say the least.
In all seriousness, I understand the haste. I'm letting you know there's almost no chance that we prevent him from drowning. I have minutes. We have minutes.
Even if he
What was
drowns,
that thing
we
that was
could.
through the water?
If we're quick, we could bring him back.
Well, oh shit.
Someone make the call and let's rock and roll.
You have the ability to bring him.
I could give one person invisibility if they think that they could save him on their own.
I've already been down there once. If I could try to slip past them and get down in there and see if I could save the guy.
Do you
Okay.
have any more of that water walk action? Can you cast that on him?
We should still have it. I recast it.
Well, can
when
you cast it on
No,
him?
can you cast it on the drowning man?
I can if
So
I can see
then,
him.
aren't you
I
effectively
look
on?
to Sylvia and I say, make me invisible.
Don't we have the thing that lets you breathe underwater?
I don't need it. Just make me invisible.
So
You can give it to the guy.
I'm going to go to you. I'm going to touch you. I'm going to cast invisibility on you, but I'm
sorry.
also going to hand you the broom, and I'm going to say, "Guard this with your life." And
If you take the thing that lets him breathe underwater, you could give it to the guy.
Yeah, I'm digging in the bag of holding to find
It's
it.
fine. Quick.
So anyway, I try to find it as quick as I can.
Just make a general dex check just to see how quickly you do it.
Natural 20, 23.
It's at the top of the bag, and you just pluck it out and hand it to
Go,
Avantris.
go.
you
Alright,
you
so
know
then
the
using my
word.
incredible stealth abilities
So.
that I have and the invisibility that Sylvie has given me, I proceed to make my
And
way to the circle.
I give him guidance as he leaves.
Okay.
I begin to make my way towards the circle of people
Okay.
surrounding the hole in the ground.
Okay, and you're making. And how does invisibility work with stealth checks? Sorry, I'm a bad DM. We don't have much invisibility.
For 1 hour, creature I touch is invisible until the spell ends. Everything is wearing or carrying is invisible.
I want to
spell
say,
ends
given
for a
Vander's
target that
36
attacks or
to
casts a
stealth,
spell.
given Avantris is 36 to stealth, there would be an opening that you could get to, and the water is still splashing and violent. You could probably, if you were careful,
Yeah.
you.
I was going to say, I'm looking for a space between the circle of people that I can slip through and attempt to dive in quickly.
Right, yeah, you can find a space. This is all kind of, jump in, and you jump in.
Okay, once I swim to the bottom, I immediately look around to see if I can see flailing or signs of life.
No, there's gonna be flailing.
So you dive into the water and you look down, and this sight looks eerily familiar to you. You remember that same horrible hole in Deodra's quarters in the Church of Umberley, in the Southern Cross, and you see as a humanoid figure is struggling, and bubbles are bubbling out through the water as this figure is sinking deeper and deeper into this.
I immediately swim over to him and use the device to allow him to breathe underwater.
It's like a cap of water.
It's a cap of water breathing. So you're gonna pull the cap over this person.
Yep.
And you swim down and you take this cap of water breathing. You see that this is actually a woman with long hair, and you pull the cap over, and all of a sudden the mouth opens as if it's breathing. No more bubbles are coming out, but all of a sudden her chest is breathing and she's still sinking, and she's
I
looking
make a
around.
motion to basically calm her and keep eye contact and try to get her to breathe normally. What is she bound with?
She is bound with heavy metal manacles, similar in the style that you had seen in Deodra's quarters. They are bound to chains, also bound to her feet, all connected to a heavy metal ball about yay big.
How much can the broom hold in weight?
250 pounds. Hold on. I actually think it might be more than that.
No, I think it's 250.
That's close.
250.
No,
It's 250.
It is
250 is when it goes
200
slow.
pounds.
Oh.
Yeah, and then it starts going. It can carry up to 400 pounds,
Okay.
but it becomes 30 feet if it's carrying over 200.
And just keep in mind, like it's a heavy ball, but you don't need that much to drown somebody. Just,
Holding my breath.
absolutely.
If they're bound,
the
you
broom,
guys.
the broom in one hand, I grab
Oh, you have the broom?
chains.
Yeah, I pass it to him and I said, "Guard this with your life."
Okay.
I have the broom in one hand and I grab a firm grasp of the chains with my other hand,
Okay.
and I attempt to fly the broom if I can see light from the mouth of the cave. So I'm assuming, since there's water all around those teeth that are outside of the cave, that water must go back out towards the ocean. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. So just to back up, you would have dropped the water walking to do that, and you can do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
Well, Ganji like dove under and popped back up.
Yeah,
right?
but I guess if you're swimming though, you would be forcing.
Yeah, I was doing that for a fact. I think we would be like basically lined up along the wall.
Okay.
And I
So
think
you
I
would
would
drop
have
it. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I just want to have full context here. So you have the broom. You're grabbing the chains. Okay.
I'm assuming that 10-foot hole goes back out towards the ocean from underneath of where those like teeth are. You see what I'm saying? Like back out towards the ocean.
So you're saying you're saying there's another opening at the bottom of the thing that goes out to the ocean without having to go back up?
I'm just guessing.
Okay.
I would assume that hole is not entirely man-made and filled with seawater. I would think that would be a natural outlet into the ocean.
So you...
If that's the case.
Okay. You take your broom and you grab it and you dive down and you see that there is a very solid floor. It definitely tapers out, but it's not like a sea cavern. You get the sense that it was filled, that same kind of cavernous area was filled due to the seawater, but because you get the sense that during high tide this whole place will flood and fill with plenty of water, it seems to be solid stone all the way down. And so as you go down, you see dozens of corpses.
Alright, so the only way out is back through the hole.
Yep. You see dozens and dozens of corpses hanging. They all look very freshly drowned, nothing decaying, but they're all floating upwards. They're heavy balls. They're heavy metal balls, god damn it. Resting at the bottom of this
Okay.
This-
Seeing that there's no way out the way that I wanted to go,
So-
I'm gonna have to go back out through the hole as
I'm
quickly as I
seeing
can.
this halfway for Rangers, by the way.
So, just for context, the broom is an item, so it is invisible.
Yes.
But she would not be. So the only thing they'll see if you fly out is just her flying out of the hole.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a choice. There's nowhere else we can
I'm
go.
just
What-
letting you know that.
Question: while he's doing that, and not that you would know this while you're doing it, but if we're watching the scene, like, are the people expecting something to happen from this? Are they like, oh, the thrashing stopped, like she's dead, so we can walk away, or like they're expecting something else to happen, so they're like disconcerted?
I will let me set the scene a little bit more here.
Okay.
So let me get my spooky CK music going here.
I don't want to move the action too far forward if nothing's happened yet.
So as they say, like the last one or the next shipment shall arrive shortly, and so then the ball gentleman turns to the halfling gentleman and nods and says like, "Let us begin the ritual." And they lower their heads, and these ones that are even heavily armed, they don't look entirely like casters or priests or whatever. They all surround the circle and begin chanting in a language that you know. You recognize this language as Aquan, which is the language that Deidre taught you while she was aboard your ship. The language of her Marid, however you pronounce that, heritage. And they are chanting that says, in a very deep kind of guttural sense, but it roughly translates into is, "Please accept this sacrifice, Umberly. Please accept this sacrifice, Umberly. Please accept this sacrifice, Umberly."
Damn, I wish I had done.
I keep it to myself for now.
Okay.
Having seen the girls that were dead on our ship and the manacles and hearing the stuff about another shipment, did these look similar at all to the girls that Belliver was sending up to LeBlanc's room?
What do you mean, like the girl that you saw directly?
Yeah, I mean, were those like? Is there any like defining feature?
There would be
or does
nothing
it-
that would give you
Okay.
that idea,
Okay.
for sure.
Good.
Banner's is holding his breath.
Well, so I'm just gonna come bursting up through the hole there.
Okay.
I've heard it as
And
soon
we're
as I said
gonna
it.
ready. Are we ready to go in as soon as?
Yeah, basically, as soon as there's any
So-
kind of trouble.
Yeah.
So basically, all they're gonna see is this woman come flying up out of the
Unmanacled
well.
magically.
Well, so
No, she would still be manacled.
Yeah,
right?
we
I
have
know,
it.
he's
Yeah.
grabbing her, so they turn invisible, right? He's grabbing the chains.
Yeah, but the ball in her foot would still be.
It's all connected.
Oh.
So,
But she wouldn't be.
so
I
she
thought-
would be.
I
So
thought
it
he
would be
was
her
grabbing-
body, like
I-
manacled,
yeah.
flying up. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Okay, so as soon as I burst out of the well, I fly back in the direction that I came from, essentially knowing that I'm not moving very fast because I've got a lot of weight and I'm hanging on to her for dear life. I probably make it maybe like 15, 20 feet, crash land about where I came in, throw the broom to Sylvie, and say, "Get ready! We're going for this!"
All right, let's do this.
You gotta hold your. So, hold on.
Well done, me lad.
Hold on, no, that's not. No, we gotta.
We got some shit to resolve.
No, it's done. He said it. He had narrative control. Arr.
You surrender narrative control. You're busting-
Vandris
I'm
realizes
busting you back
that
down
there's
level one.
nothing but corpses down below. There's no way out but up. Just deciding to go for it, he grabs the manacles and he feels that the broom will be able to fly him out of this hole through the water. He grabs onto the broom, channels this magic, pulls this person up. Her eyes go wide with terror. She has no idea what's going on, and the
Oh, I guess
five of you.
She can't see you either.
No.
Yeah.
When
No.
we were trying to make eye contact with her, she couldn't see
A
you.
cat just goes over her head suddenly, and all of a sudden her manacles go, but she's still struggling against it. Her eyes go out. She has no idea what's going on. All of a sudden, you hear a loud splash as all, however many of those people there are, get completely drenched in seawater. There's like, what's going on? And then this woman, manacled, being pulled from her hands and legs, flies through the air.
the second I hear the
hold
steam
on,
splash, I bolt in.
hold on. I want to immediately cast minor illusion and make a booming voice that says,
Thank you. Yes.
"This is Umberlee. This is my spirit body. Worship me," like loud and fearful and terrifying.
yeah.
You have displeased me with
You
this
have displeased me with this sacrifice, and I want to see
I fucking love
if-
this.
it will do anything to them.
Thank you so much. I wanted to ask you to do this, but we couldn't
No, it's
plan
2
this
minutes,
out
2
ahead
minutes,
of
2
time.
minutes.
Thank you for doing this.
Make an intimidation check
Oh
with
god.
advantage.
Oh yay! I thought you were gonna say with disadvantage.
17.
The intimidation. 21.
As soon as the woman flies out, they're all looking around completely bewildered. You will all get a surprise round. This booming voice in what you would assume Umberlee would sound like
Yeah, I just picked a point.
booms out, and they all look very, very confused, scared, horrified. They're all looking to the priest with the tendrils coming down from his face. And now let's everyone get a surprise round. Let's roll straight initiative, and then that will happen. However, as soon at the first sight of the eruption, that halfling gentleman that you'd seen, all of a sudden he starts writhing at the first sight of danger, and he grows, and his face, the normal halfling flesh of his face, almost rips open, and you see a horrific fish-like maw, glowing red eyes, and his skin is almost ripping off, revealing shark-like smooth skin, tendrils with horrific barbs coming out. He is transformed into a horrific looking, aquatic looking creature.
Nice.
And so, we'll swap out his thing. And now everyone's going to roll for initiative once I place down his
Are we
mark.
doing initiative for the surprise round, or
Well, I figured you just figure out who does what first. Unless you guys want to, can you decide who does what first?
in the surprise round? It's usually like I want to do this, or I don't know.
I mean,
It's
if you guys
everyone.
decide, if you guys are all cool
Okay,
doing
yeah,
whatever,
let's do it.
where's the Kraken priest? Okay, here we go. I mean,
It doesn't hurt to just roll initiative.
Just initiative it up.
okay.
No, this is my initiative.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's just all roll initiative just because this bookkeeping is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, how many of these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
They call me Count the Count because I really like to boop.
I love that video. I cry laughing every time I watch that video.
Okay, sorry guys, I'm just trying to doing my
You
initiative.
I have to pee, but my initiative is 19.
19 for Annulin.
Hey,
Okay.
I tied
Well, you get to pee first on a 19.
Who's going first? Between you guys.
She ran away, so she forfeits going first.
Okay.
26, yo.
Oh wow. Okay. Blah, 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 6.
10 for me.
I'm sorry. I'm so bad at this.
Yeah, Final Fantasy VII was a really good game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was good.
Naveen.
Yeah.
Okay. 20 to 25. Okay.
26.
You got 26?
I got 26.
Holy shit! Fuck you, man.
I mean, that rakish audacity is stupid.
Boink.
And you should
So-
never
Yeah,
have let me train your boy.
I've
You should
never.
never let me train your boy.
Yeah. Monsters 1. 15 to 20.
19.
17.
Annulin also got a 19.
So you decide for who goes
So it's
first.
Vandris,
Vandris will go
Annulin.
first.
Vandris first.
And then Shelby.
Annulin, Shelby, and I'll say in the surprise you'll be able to just dump her off and do it and then get your shit going.
Where would he be?
Just place Van. He's gonna go to Sylvie.
Yeah, I tried to fly back to where I was peaking.
Yeah, because
Basically,
he wants to
back
give
where I knew
Shelby
you
back
guys
the
were.
broom, he said.
10 to 14.
10.
Rodek, what did you get? Who are you missing?
I got 7.
Rodek and Sylvie.
So I was 17.
Oh.
Annulin and Shelby.
Yep.
Shelby, and then finally Ganji. What do you get, Rich?
7.
Oh. We'll call him Big Bad. Why not? He's not quite the Big Bad. But... Wait, no, he's not the Big Bad. Boink, 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 and then Rudek. You're the worst. Okay.
I'm the one.
So let's just for the surprise round, we'll get Matthias going in. Can you
Yeah.
replace everybody?
Oh, replacing folks.
Replacing your
We'll just-
minis. We're gonna surprise
As you
round.
go in, place yourself however you want to do it.
Praise yourself.
Or I can place people, but
Family.
I also am capable of placing.
So
Who
there-
am
let's
I?
see.
I'm weirdly this good. So I'll have been over here hanging out.
Look at those spectral pirate arms.
Oh wow!
And we can figure out the rest as we go. I'm going to move into the group, and I'm going to say,
I think that we are very close to Adelaide Blue, and I thank you for it. Men, let's take care of business.
and I will cast Bless on Rodek, Ganji, and Vandris.
Oh, nice.
yeah.
That means that you get a D4 on top of your saving throws and your attack rolls moving forward.
Hashtag blessed.
Hot dog.
That's fine. That's fine. I'll take my movement to. Can I? Is this walkable? This whole gum area?
Was it?
the gumminess. Can I?
No,
walk-
that's just water. That's water.
Well,
so
I
just,
mean, yeah, but it's the gum of the mouth.
That's fine.
I can walk around like so.
Yeah, we'll say that's fine.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll just go.
So what spell did you use? Sorry.
See, blessed.
Bless.
That's
Okay.
that. Hashtag
Did
blessed.
you see? Oh, Santa, what big spectral arms you have.
Ooh, Santa.
Oh!
Santa baby.
I'll just make it there.
Wes
Let's say.
Custer's fucking killing me tonight. I can't do this.
Yeah, you're the funniest fucking. A Monty Python reference and a good one is.
It was good.
I think that's my. my.
Okay. You touch your holy symbol, and all of you feel as if you've been enhanced, but the same kind of bless that you get from Ganji, the same kind of sensation that you get, it feels much darker. It definitely doesn't feel that same benevolent, radiant, blessed feeling that
Whose
you get.
breast?
Ganji's breast.
Dandy's breast. When Bahamut gives you the breast, it does not feel like when.
No, I'm saying out of everybody,
Everybody,
who got
right?
everybody.
No, I can only
Just
do
the
the
melee.
3, and
Oh.
I
Okay.
bless the men because I'm a pirate.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
that's
Three-
what I thought.
three of
Because
you.
I
Okay.
Natural
don't know
male
what Lust
enhancement.
does because no one ever
Unbelievable.
Blesses me.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, let's do
I know.
it.
Super male vitality. Okay, Vandris, you're up.
Okay.
Give him the bone broth.
That is true. There is that.
Sorry, I'm counting. 1 second.
I thought maybe he did something.
So yeah,
weird
so
because
the
he's
woman is.
Paladin.
11.
So the woman is basically on the. Here, let's just get a. What is this? Let's get a. I just need some kind of talking.
Put one of those tokens over there.
What?
In front of the.
One of those tokens there.
Oh, yeah. This
Ken.
gross-looking pirate is the woman. You just place her like right there.
So what I'm gonna do is
She's like behind
first
the
I'm
rock.
gonna shout to the gang and say, "Don't let them get to the woman." Then I'm going to use my bonus action, my cunning action to dash.
Okay.
So I'm gonna sprint, and I'm going to move
Does he?
like 1 square towards Matthias, then like 4 squares up towards the other side of the mouth, then like 1 square away from Matthias. I'm working my way without incurring attacks of opportunity to the back of the circle where the tendril faced guy is.
Okay.
I've got like 1 billion squares to move when I dash.
Okay.
Yeah, keep going out as wide as you can. I don't want to get involved with anyone yet.
That's as far as you can go.
Perfect. And then I'm going to use my turn to channel the dark venom out from Venom's spine.
Okay. You channel you sprint around to the backside of the cave as they're all looking around, completely coated in seawater, looking around. They're horribly surprised by the strange booming voice pretending to be Umberlade, and you channel the magic of your blade, and that thick black venom coats the length of it. Annulin, you're up.
Okay, how tall are the teeth thingies?
I would say it's probably about 5 feet.
Could I, what would I need to do to get on top of one of the teeth?
I think you could make a low DC acrobatics check or athletics.
Where's this music from?
Oh, Cuphead.
Oh,
I figured I should have known.
oh, I love Cuphead.
I'm gonna skirt around the edge and kind of follow Matthias's footsteps
Okay.
and try to get on top of the tooth,
Okay.
next to where he is.
It's like an eyeball or maybe a tooth, like up there.
Might be a tooth.
I wish Andy heard
That
that.
should be Annulin's voice.
Okay.
let's
make the acrobatics check. Just see.
20.
20. You easily make a quick leap following Matthias and stand on top of this rock, this toothy rock. Rocky tooth, toothy rock, whatever.
Okay. So from that vantage point, I am hoping to have line of sight to the big priest dude.
Okay.
And I'd like to cast Hunter's Mark on him. I'm assuming it's been an hour since our last encounter, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna cast Hunter's Mark on him and
shots.
fire 2 arrow shots.
Okay. You fire both. Oh, it is late. Okay.
21 and 14.
The both hit. Really?
What is your attack modifier? It's just crazy.
It's like plus 10.
No, Rangers have like obscene.
That's obscene.
Yeah. She has to roll like a 2 or 3 to miss in most cases.
One second.
Is it that much damage?
No, it's just that point in the night where I forget how to math.
72 damage. They're ready to start shouting out numbers.
Please no. Total is 34 damage.
34 damage. Okay. You sprint up, land, and as you're spinning through the air, you fire to the priest, the Kraken priest. We'll just call him the Kraken priest. He turns and he gets 2 arrows in his side. He heaves over and he looks at you, and he is very upset. You can see now a better look at him. His eyes have no pupil, and there's this glassy black are his eyes, and they are his face though is still contorted in this hatred for you, and that is Sylvie's turn.
So as my bonus action, I'm gonna turn to Annulin and I'm gonna go. Shot through the heart, and you're to blame, darling. You give Rangers a good name, and I'm gonna give her a wink and throw her a bardic inspiration, and then directly in the middle of the warders, I'm going to cast Fairy Fire, which is a 20-foot cube, so it should include every single one of them.
It does.
And they all have to roll a dexterity saving throw.
Every single one.
Every single one.
Okay. That's every single NPC. So we got Sea Reaver number 1. So what's what you call it?
It's 15.
15. Okay. Sea Reaver 1 passes. Sea Reaver 2 fails. So I'm just gonna do like okay. Sea Reaver 3 fails. Sea Reaver 4 fails. Sea Reaver 5 fails. Sea Reaver 6 passes.
Maybe just mark the ones that passed.
The Deep Scion critically fails, okay. And then the Kraken Priest also fails.
Yes!
Jesus Christ.
Nice.
So, because I only did this like when we were like level 2.
Literally level 2. Last one with Orpheus.
You're right.
Any creature in this area, so they're the ones that failed are outlined in a violet light. For the duration, which is 1 minute, they shed dim light in a 10-foot radius. Any attack roll against them has advantage if the attacker can see it, and the affected creature can't benefit from being invisible.
And they're compelled to drown themselves.
That's how I'm feeling right now.
Right.
So as soon as you do your little song, as you're running, you're getting your movement to empower Annulin with the power of the bard. She feels inspired with that beautiful tune. You cast a bright blast of dancing pink glittery lights. You can see unique orbs kind of glittering about, and you almost see little dancing pixie wings almost in these little balls of light. And 2 of the Reavers seem to dodge away, but the others are now glowing with this horrific purple. They're trying to swallow it off themselves, and it's not working. Okay, Ganji, you're up.
Alright, so I am going to move here. Okay, is there a way I can hit these 2 guys and a third guy? Basically, I'm trying to hit maximum amount of people with lightning breath.
I'd say if you go like arc it a little bit, you can you can get one.
1, 3, and 1.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. That's what I'm gonna do. So Dex save DC 14.
Okay, we're gonna do Kraken Priest first. Fails. 14.
Yep.
Fails for the Deep Scion. And then of course the fucking Mook survives. The Reaver 3 passes.
5, 8 lightning damage, half to the one who passes.
Okay. 8. And then number 3? Number 3 gets 4 points of damage. So as they're all looking about, coated in this bright violet fey light, you get in position. Your draconic jaws open and the lightning arcs out, zapping 3 of them. They're shocking. They look like they're almost humiliated how much they're getting ditched. Rodak.
This is a slaughter.
I would like to make a power attack.
And you have advantage, remember? If you're attacking one that is fairy fire.
Oh wait. I guess I'll do 2 attacks, right?
Yeah.
So 3 for the first one. Whatever, it doesn't matter. So 11.
Use your shit. Yeah.
11, 3 plus 8, so 20 something.
Hits.
Is the first one. The minus 5. So it's 11, 12, 13, 14.
To number what?
8 is so it is 17 for the first one. To number 3.
Yep. The Sea Reaver or the Priest?
The just regular pirate.
Okay, yeah.
And
17. What are you? 17 hits.
And I am. I'll make it a menacing attack. Why not?
Just fuck him up.
Good. And I reroll that.
You have advantage, remember?
Okay, cool. So 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 28 damage.
To number 3.
To number 3.
Right after somewhat dodging Ganji's lightning, he gets singed and he's not paying attention as Roderick comes in
Dodges
and
right into
cleaves
the
him so
ass.
hard he spits up blood and falls into the pool, and that sloshing pool is now has a corpse in it, and it is red as he is floating dead.
I will use my second.
Matthias, you're up again.
What?
Yeah, he's using his
Oh,
second
no.
action.
I'm going to use
Oh.
my second attack
Jesus Christ.
on number 4. 11, 12, exactly the same amount, so I hit again.
Wow.
17 or whatever.
With a power attack,
To number 4.
of course. It's number 4.
Yep.
And I'll make it.
The bringer of death.
I'll make it a menacing attack. Why not? That'll do. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 29 damage.
To number 2, 4.
Number 4.
After cleaving him into the back, he falls forward, and then you swing around and cleave him into the side, and he hurks and dies horribly.
Maybe don't throw bodies into the sacrifice hole.
Okay, so I am going to.
But they're not drowning, though. I think they have to drown. Hopefully.
I'll use my bonus action to
Jesus Christ.
attack the guy.
Level 8. Fuck this shit.
Fuck them
I'll
up.
make it a. Oh, I'm not at advantage because
Do it.
he passed. I'm gonna make it a power attack anyway. Fuck it.
You're, yeah.
Hey!
No way.
You
Well,
crit!
I crit.
Yeah, you crit.
Number what?
To number 1 of the pirates.
The one that he wasn't advantaged on, he crit.
Okay, so I need 2 of these.
He looks so bad.
There's 1 and a 2. I get to reroll both of them though. That's good. 7 and a 6 could be worse.
13.
It's a 9.
Oh, 9. Great. So 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 28 damage.
16.
Oh,
You
16.
just turned that guy into
26
a natty
damage.
splatty.
26 damage.
Yep.
Okay. Well,
2 digits to crit.
to number what?
Number 1.
Number 1.
Number 1. After killing 2 of his comrades, he doesn't have any chance. He doesn't have any chance to dodge as your axe slams into his face and his skull explodes into blood.
Great. I'm use action surge.
Of course you
I'm
are.
gonna move there. I'm use action surge.
He's
I'm
feeling
gonna
good. He's feeling real
And
good.
I'm gonna-
I'm so glad I wasted my venom spine
And
charge.
he is the one that's afraid of everything.
Right?
And
But what if we considered another way?
Oh, no. Fuck these guys. They're trying to drown people.
so yeah, seriously.
They get
fuck
the
these guys.
murder way.
I will attack. Okay, it's a gazillion.
29.
29.
So the only issue is we've all blown basically everything that we have, and this is totally not even the end, but just the beginning.
I
I only
used-
have one spell slot burned.
I have used exactly 1 spell slot. I'll have you.
I'm in
know.
the mind that
One
these
spell
guys need to die as
Oh.
soon as possible, so that they don't fuck shit up for us.
No, agreed. No, I'm absolutely fine with novating these people.
Okay.
We'll find out.
Welcome to the murder pool.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
20.
20 damage to number 1, to the big
Big
guy
guy.
with the mouth.
Oh, 20 damage?
Yeah.
What did you roll to hit him?
Oh, fuck.
Oh, 29.
29. So
As he's smaller, although he grew a little bit, he still is still growing from a gnome.
And 1 more power attack, and then I'm done. I promise. I promise.
Is that a crit?
That's a crit.
All
That's
right.
like a world record.
Hold on.
I knew the whole time. I always knew.
I don't get to reroll that.
In the awards
11,
of Avantris
12,
never
13,
didn't have
14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 29 damage. To,
Holy shit.
To number what?
That's double?
to the same guy, that
And that's double because it's a crit?
2 dice.
Yeah, okay.
29.
I'm gonna rewatch this and I'm gonna count how much damage you did in a single turn.
Okay.
Because it's more than 100. I swear to God, it has to be added.
I could have done more too. I
That
could
was
have
like
spent.
120 damage.
I could have spent more superior.
Find a
damage.
calculator for this.
Don't shit on fighters, anybody. Do not, because
There's one thing we do well.
Yeah, that was like 120 damage.
It's
Yeah.
bitching about being afraid and then killing everything.
So you then, after murdering 3 of them, You cleave your axe into this halfling that is now a horrible fish monster twice, and his flesh is falling off almost like it's rotting from decomposing underwater.
Disgusting.
Okay. Ooh, I'm done. I'm finished.
I guess I'll walk up and not crit anybody and probably miss horribly. I'll attack number 1.
You're advantaged.
I am advantaged, which is great. 11 and 2, so 11 is going to be... oh yeah, I've been fucking up this whole time. That's an old picture. That's going to be a 17 to hit.
17 to hit, that hits.
Okay, and we'll give him
Sushi
sneak
animal.
attack damage, right?
Yep.
Alright, that's 11 points of slashing damage to
Number
number
one.
1, and I'll attack him again. That'll be more to hit, so I hit, and then we'll do... 14 damage to him.
Okay. 14 damage. Okay.
That was on top of the previous attack.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So
Man, you mean you didn't do 40 or 412 in one go? Wow.
you
Distracts me.
you walk up with your cane and your limp. The every time you drop your cane, it makes a loud clacking sound that echoes through the chamber a little bit. You're not trying to be stealthy at all, and you cleave twice into this this priest that seems to have been given power by Adelaide Blue. Your eye, the eye is in the cutlass, is looking around. It looks hungry. Monsters 1. Are any alive?
2.
Okay, 2.
No, 3.
3. Okay, so 5 and 6 are going to go and make an attack on Rodek in vengeance of their friend. 1 is going to go there.
You want to put that?
Make sure you put the die back on.
Yeah, because that's how we know he's the only one not. That's the
5.
other one.
Nope,
5.
other guy.
Oh.
That's
5.
how we know he's not affected by fairy
Oh.
fire.
And this one's actually going to go to Vanders because you're close and you're sitting there. And then this guy's going to make his attacks on not Seamus, Matthias. Pardon me.
Seamus? Who's Seamus? I don't know this
You don't know
Seamus.
Seamus. You don't know Seamus.
I'm only
And
proud
he's
of...
going to make 1 attack because he's the mook. He is going to swing in with his sword that seems to be this metal creation fastened with sharp teeth all the way around, and he's going to hit, dealing...
Me?
No, Vanders.
No, Matthias, right?
Oh.
I thought you just said...
Oh, Matthias. Yeah, sorry. 5 points of slashing damage.
That was the person I
Wait,
just
you have
heard?
armor, right? Are you wearing armor?
I'm at 15 AC.
Yeah, it's it.
Okay.
So, are you wearing armor?
I don't know. Yes? I'm wearing the outfit that I have. I don't know if it counts as armor.
We'll say that you're wearing armor, so 15 points of or 5 points of damage. Slashing damage.
5 points of damage. I'm going to use my reaction to cast Hellish Rebuke.
Okay. This is horrible.
I don't know how this shit works. Just 1 minute. It has to make a dexterity saving throw.
Okay. It rolls a 2.
Alright, then it's going to take 9 points of fire damage.
Number 1, which number is he?
Whichever one was
2.
attacking.
2, 9. As soon as he swings in and hits you with your sword, it doesn't do as much damage as he's holding with 2 hands. It tears a little bit of your coat. You look at him and snap, and that familiar blue, hellish-looking fire erupts from the ground and starts burning him. He starts screaming and passes it out, but he's severely burned.
Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist.
And then we're going to have Vandris.
Wow.
He's going to
Hey,
roll.
what happened to the woman token that was behind Ganji?
Oh, you know what? I thought that was a dead person, but now it's actually that person again.
And then
She's like,
Gotcha.
She was Deandra
And this
all
is
along.
going to hit Rodak.
now.
This is going to hit Rodak, and that's going to be 10 points of slashing damage as the sharp-toothed sword finds a weakness in your armor.
More like 7.
And that's their turn. Vanders, kill the rest of them. Go for it.
So who is Rodek tangoing with right now?
He's tangoing with the Deep Scion, the fish guy, and then one of the
Just a regular
Sea-Reavers.
pirate.
Okay, so I guess I was maybe slightly confused. There was the gnome that turned into the shark thing,
He's right here.
Yeah.
and then there was the dude with the tentacles on his face.
He's right here.
Yep.
In front of Gamgee is the dude with
Fuck
the
me
tentacles.
sideways.
Sideways, you say?
Also, you're not invisible anymore, in case you were
Yeah,
wondering.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Alright, I'll just attack the guy in front of me.
Okay. Okay.
21.
Hits.
Let me see here. With the Venom Spine, you have to make a DC 15 save. I think it's Con.
Fails.
Hey.
And then you take an additional 2d10 damage and become
Oh my
poisoned.
god.
Hey man, you gave it to me.
True.
You could have used it on the big gnome guy.
Yeah, well, it's hard for me to see, so I fucked up.
Did you not want to use it on the gnome guy?
I wanted to use it on the guy with the fucking tentacle face, but I'll never make it back to him in time. From where I am, they all look the same. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look the same to me, too.
Assuming that the guy that Rodek was attacking was the tentacle face guy, because he's the only one that looks different from the others. But that's okay, no big deal.
I never knew.
I never knew.
I never know.
It's the funniest fucking
What
shit.
does the tentacle
Cracks me
face
up every
guy?
time.
I don't know, it looks the same to me.
I thought the one that was by you was the tentacle face. That's what I thought.
No,
I
number
did.
one is
I
the
did
one
it
I'm
first
gonna-
too. Yeah.
8 damage to that little shitter
How
in front
much?
of me. What a waste.
28.
28.
God, you guys do so
38?
much damage. It's just
38
crazy.
to what number was
Holy
he?
God.
To 6.
I think he's done that.
It turns into a cloud of mist.
He immediately just lets out a and crumples as it pierces into his spine. And the venom, you see his face turn black and blue, his veins turn dark, and he just has this horrific look of pain on his face as.
I'll use my movement to then move to the guy that Rodek is fighting, but behind him.
Okay. And
Okay, so for clarification, what's the one with the priest? Who's the priest?
The priest is the one between me and Matthias.
Ah, okay.
Pretty much the one right in front of you.
And that is the one that I have been confused. I said the priest and I thought it was the one in front of Rodek, but I guess it wasn't.
No, that's the guy with the big like predator mouth.
I guess my question is, who did I attack last
You
time?
attacked this guy.
Okay, I
The
didn't do
priest
that.
guy.
Um,
Davy Jones.
I'm
Walker.
going to, from atop my toothy perch,
Uh-huh.
send another arrow his way.
Okay.
And what's your thing that you gave me, Sully?
Bardic Inspiration. You get 1d6 that you can add to something if you need to.
Like
Can't
your-
be damage, but
Like your attack.
So like if you fuck up a roll and you need to add a d6, you can do that.
I can add it after the fact, though?
Yeah.
What-
Just before it's determined whether it hits or
Yeah.
not.
That is a 25 to hit.
That hits.
Jesus Christ.
And who's she attacking? Who are we talking?
The priest.
Priest. Tentacle face.
Tentacle phase. Tentacle phase. Tentacle phase.
Tentacle phase,
19
tentacle
damage.
phase.
19
Doing things
damage.
tentacle
Oh,
face
let me
does.
see what damage he has.
What's he like? He's got a face of tentacles.
19 damage. Okay. So as Matthias is finishing hacking him up, you fire your arrows and it right through his throat and he falls back into the pool.
The big guy?
You did.
The priest.
Face, yeah.
He's a weak little priest.
Damn, we fucked him up in this
I think it's more the Squidward that we have to worry about.
Maybe, yeah.
Then I'm going to fire my second attacks, like straight through that channel to the one in front of Rodek.
Okay, go for it.
That's Squidward.
Yep.
And you have advantage, remember, on this guy.
Why is that?
Because he's in Fairy Fire, so you get advantage.
Okay, that's 26 to hit,
Hits.
and I'm going to transfer my Hunter's Mark. Can I do that before I hit, or
Yes.
I can say fuck it?
Or,
Yeah, it's fine.
That was really shitty. 9 damage.
9 damage. Okay. You fire your next arrow after killing the Kraken priest, and this horrific fish monster that was a halfling is horribly wounded by Rodak and doesn't even notice it as it pierces his abdomen, and that same putrid goo is pouring out of it. He looks very wounded. Sylvie?
I'm going to cast Glitter Lance.
Glitter Lance, that's
Yeah.
right.
We're renaming Eldritch Blast because
Oh,
I
okay.
wanna. And
Fine with that.
on Squidward.
Okay.
So 21. 8 plus 13 is
It hits.
21, right?
Yep.
It hits.
Okay. Yes, I'll do that one first. 9 for the first hit. And then I'm going to cast the next one. And it'd be 17 plus 8, so I think that one hits too. 9 plus 7.
Okay.
9 plus the 16 damage.
16 total?
Yeah.
How you gonna do this?
No.
16 plus the first.
How do you want? Is it the
What?
last guy?
How you gonna do this?
No, there's still
It's the
power.
last big
It's
guy.
the big guy.
Yeah. I want to just. So he's like a little fish.
He's like
He's
a,
like a weird, like,
horrific
fish
humanoid with
I want to shoot my glitter lances into his gills, so that it makes him like, as he's dying, belch up a glittery bubble.
So
That's all.
you arc both of your glitter lances. They he is so heavily wounded by Rodok and everybody else. You guys have totally obliterated them. Both of the glitter lances go straight up into his gills and inside his head, and it almost looks like a horrific, like a deep sea anglerfish of some kind, as how much he glows. And then his head almost explodes, and this horrific bubble emerges from his mouth, pink, and then pops into this horrible mucusy.
A deep sea
Texture.
anglerfish.
And then
He is
falls to the ground dead. And then Ganji.
All right,
Clean up?
Yeah, let's go clean up. I'm gonna go attack number 2.
Okay.
Just.
I got you.
march-
He's also wounded.
march
Matthias
me on
also
over.
slashed him.
Or I was gonna do the guy in front of him.
Matthias.
Number
Oh.
2, the one between
And
next to
he
you is
is-
dead.
Yes, you know.
I got you.
Wow, why have I not used Fairy Fire?
You
more?
know,
I still have a
good
+4.
question. It lets you
is the
power
one
attack.
on Rodek still alive?
What?
This one's still alive.
Oh, okay.
The one with the die on it is still alive.
So that's
Have you used your Bardic Inspiration I gave you?
Oh, I haven't. What is that?
What do you say?
1d6. No, yes, it's d6.
Okay, so that is 3, 6, 12. That's an 18 to hit.
18 hit, that hits.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to make sure I'm not wasted.
6, 9 damage.
9 damage.
To number 2.
Number 2.
Might not be enough to finish him.
You
That's okay.
swing your Malleus Maleficarum, it bashes into the side of his face, teeth get knocked out, blood is streaming from his lips. He is still alive but barely hanging on.
Me.
Hey, go kill some
Yep.
more people.
I will attack number 1. Or that guy.
Okay.
I'll make it a power attack. He's wounded, right?
Yep.
Number
No advantage.
this guy, right? So you still have concentration, right? On bless.
So this one doesn't have Fairy
I haven't been
Fire.
hit.
Was that?
The one you're attacking doesn't
Yeah.
have Fairy
I'm just gonna try. We'll see what we get. Ooh, not good. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 10.
10 worth of damage?
No. 10.
Oh,
10
10
to
hit,
hit.
misses.
Yes. I'll do. No, I'll attack again. I won't make it a power attack. Okay. 18, 19.
Hits.
Plus whatever. And then, so that is that. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 damage.
13 damage. This one sees all of his friends alive, but you guys are just relentlessly assaulting. You miss for I think the first time this entire fight, but you are able to then swing again, and I think maybe just this horrible sense of survival. He doesn't quite die. He's horribly wounded, slashed across the abdomen, but he's still alive. Matthias.
Fuck him. I'll run up and I'll smack him in the face.
Okay.
Oh, there's a guy right
Yeah.
next to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
I should
And
hit
he
him.
has Fairy Fire.
I'll hit him.
Let's
He's
find
wounded
out.
too.
That's gonna be
Fair
10.
fire.
That's gonna be a 19.
Gazillion.
Gazillion
It
hit.
definitely hits.
Let's do 4, 9, 13, and then I'll attack again. That's
Hold on. Number 2.
yeah.
13. Your cutlass slices him down, and as it slits his throat, gore spewing everywhere, you see his eyes sink in and his face gapes out as that same blue soul goes into the eyeball of your cutlass.
Aye, and I'll run forward and I'll take care of my mate.
I'll attack
Through
this
the
guy.
water.
Okay.
Yeah,
can get
through
around
the
it.
water
He can get
for
around
sure. I jump over it. 10 feet, no problem. I can jump 10 feet. I don't care. Regular attack,
Regular
right?
attack.
Woohoo! That's a natural 1.
Oh
He
shit.
critically fails, and he...
I jumped over the water and I accidentally stabbed myself in the ribs.
You trip over the lip of the hole and you fall onto your
Yeah,
onto your
absolutely, absolutely. Fortunately, I'm undead, so I'll just take it out.
You look around, and this guy looks around, and he is horribly bloody. All of his friends have died. The ritual's been interrupted, and he is... There's a look of fear, but also the amount of shame in his eyes. Amount of shame in his eyes starts to overwhelm it, and then a moment of calm and resolve, and he says, "Umberly, forgive me. Accept this sacrifice," and slits his own throat with
Keep him
the
out
sword,
keep him out of the hole.
and he collapses just down onto the ground, dead.
I hear Ganji and I grab him by the scruff so that he doesn't fall into the hole.
Make a dex check.
Well, he's the
athletics.
guy that's behind all three of us. We're blocking the hole,
Oh,
correct?
he's
that
blocking-
is true.
Yeah,
That
you
is
don't
true.
need to make
He
it.
ain't going
Yeah,
nowhere.
he just falls to the ground dead.
That's alright, I got a 20.
Okay, well you grab him anyway, and with that, their quiet returns
We're level
to the
9.
cave.
I run over to the lady.
You run over to the lady. She
I run with you.
she's gasping, sputtering, spitting up seawater, and her hair is drenched. Her clothes and her wrists are red and raw against where she was dragged around. And
I
Is she still
shout to
manacled?
the gentleman, does it look like there's a lock on it?
I would medicine check her.
Medicine
if
check?
you want to look for shackles or whatever.
No, I'm grabbing her and I'm going to say,
Where the fuck is Adelaide Bloom?
That's a natural one.
So I'm going, while he's doing his medicine check thing, I want to take, if we're going to be here for a bit, 11 minutes to do a ritual.
Okay.
The identify ritual, to just make sure there isn't any other kind of magical properties going on with her.
Okay.
It's an 8 total.
Okay.
Natural one.
You
I'm screaming at her because I think that she knows stuff about
I like relax.
she spits up more seawater, and she says, "I don't know who that is."
You may know her as Deandra Tidehunter.
Sea witch. She's performing a ritual. And he points down the cave, and you turn and you see, as this horrific smell of putridness comes, you see an enormous, right off the end before where this cave entrance goes, the enormous skeleton of what seems to be a tail. Just almost
We're in a giant sperm.
almost embedded into the floor of this cavern, and you see this horrific looking putrid rotting flesh as you get the sense that this might be the tail to an enormous creature. And that's where we'll end the session.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
So we can see across
And,
that water there.
Yeah.
Nix the whole identify thing. I didn't take it, so I cannot use it.
Okay.
I looked at it. I was like, wait a minute. I don't even
Well,
know.
It's not prepare it.
Thank
It's
you guys
not
for tuning in. We
thing
really
that you
appreciate
know.
it. Sorry we went so late. This was late for us.
I'm gonna
but,
go to sleep under this table right now. It's
Yeah.
gonna be fantastic.
You want to know something funny?
What?
So that first fight where I got my ass kicked, I forgot that on our last level up, I took the multi-attack defense, which would have raised my AC like a lot for subsequent attacks.
Oh, dang.
We'll do that.
Well, thank you guys so much.
Yeah,
we love
next
you.
time, next
We'll
time.
be streaming again. Call of the Feywild on Wednesday, and then back to Call of the Feywild next Wednesday, and then
On
Next
Monday.
Monday.
on Monday, and then we're back to our normal schedule.
Or no, it won't be Call of the Feywild.
It
but
might.
next Monday.
It might not
It
be.
might be.
Cole.
It
We'll
might
see.
not be.
It's a prize round on Monday. We'll
Yeah.
see what happens.
We'll see. We all love you guys.
Dealer's
Thanks.
choice.
Yeah, dealer's
Yeah.
choice.
And
Thank
in
you
the
so much.
meantime, Morning Frost will be available to you on Wednesday.
Thanks so much,
Thank you
guys.
for hanging out with us.